Oh boy.
Actually, I can be here. It just got canceled.
Nice.
Sorry to hear that, Gorma.
It's okay.
But at least you can be here with us now.
Yeah, I get to answer the amazing community questions.
All right, did we start the event?
Oh yeah, I just started it.
You could start it, but yeah, we'll then wait another minute or two for everyone to flood in before I start the introduction. We can go ahead. Is everyone sat down? Where's everyone?
I'm stood up.
Oh, dead. Yeah. I wish we could have gotten like a video feed of Drew in the cinema thing. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, that would be sweet. Maybe someday I'll figure out how to actually stream.
All right, for those of you who are just joining us, make sure you join the Sunrust Cinema server. That is how we'll be distributing rewards, and you can see the magnificent avatars of the developers. Maybe one day everyone will move the VR chat.
Yeah.
Oh
God.
We gotta make more ZS avatars. That's it.
Ew.
Oh god.
Yeah, I'd be down for that. That'd be sweet.
This new new
I
model.
already
will be
have
on
a
the
cool
summer.
one. I already have a big cool one.
Okay, so who wants this for the summer models for 2024?
No, not coming. Sorry, it's literally me.
I'm not making it. Okay, I'm not.
I mean, how hard could it be?
By the way, what chat are we? What chat are we using? We're using.
The text chat is going to be the ZS October QnA text.
He has a shield too.
That's what the.
Okay, we're not using the stage chat. Okay.
We are not using the stage chat.
I don't know why you made it. Honestly, I'm just gonna lock it down.
Yeah, if you post anywhere other than the ZS October QnA text chat, it's not going to be on the stream, and it's not going to be acknowledged.
I'm currently having a death battle in the dev right now. Give me a second.
Oh, I want to see.
Oh my god. Gorma versus Bucket.
Don't tell them what's happening. I mean, it's pretty obvious, but don't.
Now, I will not have any dev discourse during my stream. Thank you.
But that's how we get things done. Come on, it's like the natural
whip
state.
you.
Okay, my bad.
Bucket.
Well, I mean,
Actually, do what you want. That'd be funny.
Guys, try not to post multiple questions in one post. Makes
Yeah,
it
if I
very
read a
difficult
Tim
to go through
Buckley
them.
post, if I read like a Tim Buckley level like text post, I'm not gonna read it.
Well, it's difficult because you don't want one person to hog the thing. If I post 50 questions and I expect the devs to respond to all of them, it's like we're gonna be here all day answering that one person's question. So
I just thought of a
limited.
genius idea. What if we make a Sunrust calendar and sell it, but all the pictures on the calendar are just Professor Drew in a bikini picture?
No.
Oh my god.
no, oh god.
No, you can't have the bikini for the winter. Come on.
I've already had this stable video. I don't want to see anything else.
Gotta be classy.
Okay, I'll cover up. People don't want it.
I still can see your cleavage, though. We could still see your cleavage.
That's fine.
Of course, Pooflet's upset.
I know CJ is more interested in Necross and stream.
Skibbity toilet or brown romantler?
See, that's the question that I think players are too scared to ask, and I'm too scared to answer. So we're gonna leave that.
We need that as a neutral.
We will get around to your. We will get around to your brown romantler questions at the end of the Q&A.
I'm telling you, Skibbity toilet needs to be a new drop capture point.
Are we gonna talk about medic today?
Don't say a word.
I don't think there's
talking
much
about
to
a
talk
ton of stuff
regarding medics. I'll be honest.
There's a
I
lot
know
of
like
questions regarding that, at least.
Okay, wait. We're not even
"Ah."
starting the queue. Wait. Is this
No,
the
we're not
first
starting
topic?
yet.
Okay,
Yeah, we're just
because we're
starting
starting to talk about medics, and we're not even in the thing.
Okay.
Okay. Everyone's
you're
here,
close.
right? Everyone's present. We're all good to go.
Holy shit, it's Scott, and there it is.
Oh,
Tim.
we need to wait for Scott to take his seat.
Well, I mean, he's not here, so.
You just said he was here.
I
He
should have launched
unmuted and
Gary's
he's
mod on
in
my
here.
laptop. I
Oh,
didn't even
okay.
think about that. Whatever.
We have so
Too
many
late now.
developers now. We're gonna have to try really hard not to talk over each other.
Yeah. By the way, we should all do this in the cinema so we can use day zero exploits on people. Wait, I didn't.
All right, we good to go?
Yeah,
All right.
I'm all good.
Okay. Welcome everyone to the Zombie Survival Halloween Developer Q&A. We will be doing two parts. First part, the devs will talk amongst ourselves. We have a few talking points. These include bounties, the banished sigil, the future of it, and then I think Scott wants to talk a bit about the dev team as well. So those are the main talking points that I have, at least. We may be going into other topics as well, such as the medic stuff or whatever, but they'll be a lot smaller than these ones. The second part of the Q&A, as usual, will be the community questions, and that it's going to be taking most of our time up. So we'll try to spend about half an hour or so for part one, and then an hour and a half or however long for the second part, where we'll bring people on stage. They can answer their questions, and then we've got a bunch of proposal questions as well that we can read through. Only one question per person, please. If you try to ask multiple questions on the stage, we will just drop you from it. So please be sensible. Right. So the first part, bounties. It's, I think, the hottest topic right now after all the changes that I've done following the Scorched Earth updates. The main reason for those changes was I wanted more people to push out of barricades and fight zombies during intermission. I went really hard on this, and I think at times people felt it was too forced, and it started to gatekeep content, such as the bounties behind the Sigil Rift. What I did to consolidate this and make more people happy was reintroduce the bounty rounds attachment, as well as a new trinket specifically for healers and repairs, so no one misses out on bounty tokens now. Everyone can access the content, but if you want more, you still do need to push out and kill zombies. So I think we're at a much better position now, and hopefully the community also agrees on that. So what do you guys think about bounties then? Current state?
Well, I would say I have my my own reserved opinions about how I think the bounty system should be handled. But as a side note, as part of the bounty talk, should we talk about like the state of pushing out of the Cade too, or should that be like sort of its own talking point?
That's
later?
probably its own topic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just making sure.
Yeah, I have a lot I can say about bounties, but to keep it brief, I think as a DPS player, it's fun. When you're not playing a DPS role, it can feel disempowering. And I think definitely returning the trinkets was a step in the right direction, because, you know, you have other ways to get it. It's not like it's like only locked behind there, and there's a lot of issues with like zombie HP, limiting the amount of bounties that can be gotten, and like, are they playing demi-boss? Are they playing boss? What wave is it? But the trinkets are a step in the right direction, although the gain and the penalties on them are pretty severe right now. I wouldn't take them on anything, to be honest. I would just buy a gun and shoot if I was playing medic to get bounties instead of using the gloves.
Yeah, I
think there are improvements to be made there. Sorry.
Yeah, I think the downsides are way too harsh, and then the gain to comp, like, it's not a great like trade-off.
Yeah.
Especially
intentional. It was all initial stuff that it was intentional.
Mhm.
So then we would just adjust it later.
Yeah, I think specifically the gloves probably need adjusting for like the healing stat versus the barricading stat, or maybe like a slight system change, but I'm not entirely sure what direction people would want that to go in.
Mm.
Yeah, I underballed it intentionally, but absolutely we can buff them if people think we need to do so.
Good. And to add on to that, I think pushing out is interesting. I think it's cool. But I also think that the game is sometimes not balanced around that, especially with rift placement and the composition of zombie team. It's very easy for an experienced zombie team to just prevent any attempts to push out with demi bosses and bosses and all these things to just shred humans. And I think this hits the lower end of our player base the hardest, especially people who aren't even playing DPS, and it's like they feel like they need to buy a shield or something to get their bounties. I think that's one of the biggest problems that the players had with it, from my experience. And I don't know. I mean, maybe the gloves will be a good enough trinket that will be good for support players. We definitely got to focus on getting that into a state. Because again, for DPS, I think it's cool. I think it's awesome. You know, you get your T-Sick and you push out for a little bit, see how far you can go. But for supports, you're mostly passive during that. Sure, you can buff, you can heal, but if you get, pulled away by a zombie or like you get ambushed, you're just kind of like dead, which can be very frustrating. So
Yeah.
those are my thoughts.
What I'll quickly say is, because we'll still talk about bounties, but the what we're doing to help pushing out and that's another topic that I'd like to go into, because me and Dark are doing a lot of mechanics for that, such as the sonar grenade and so on. But just focusing on bounties, we'll continue there for now.
Oh, so like the state of pushing out, or is this bounties?
Well, do we want
There's
to?
still bounties if you have anything you'd like to talk about.
Well, we had a discussion about this, and the initial part of drops was, okay, you push out because there's a reward, like it's a risk versus reward type deal.
Should
But I
we?
think
Sorry.
the people did not like that content was being gatekept by pushing out, and that was the whole thing that we had a discussion about.
Because these two things are linked so close, maybe we should just discuss the state of pushing out with bounties, because they kind of intrinsically link to each other, maybe. But
yeah, it's hard to separate them.
It is now, I suppose. Yes.
Well, they weren't originally.
Yeah. I will say this about pushing out. I feel like sometimes there are certain demis, like the genome, where if you just stack like, I don't know, the max amount near a rift, even with the ping grenades, sometimes they can just wait outside the area and just like instantly fucking maul you and kill you instantly. But like, I don't. I think a ping grenade for it was a step in the right direction. I just don't know if, like, since extra damage on wave intermission was gone, if it's enough to actually help people like push out against literally like meat shields worth of zombies and demi bosses that have the potential to kill you instantly.
We might have to have stuff, like if we're going to improve on pushing out, and I don't know how core it should be to the game. It depends on how core we want it to be. Because I think gatekeeping content behind pushing out is not the right direction that we should take pushing out. It should be rewarding if you want to do it, but you shouldn't have to do it.
Yeah,
like,
and
it
just
shouldn't
make the
be
content
a
for
lot
pushing
of
out
stuff.
instead of taking existing content.
Yes.
Yeah,
I think that's one of the things that really hurt players. We balanced the game around these bounties at some level, because you expected medics to be able to get a bounty or two, right? So we kind of balanced the game around this, and then we were like, okay, now you need to push out for this. You're not allowed to get this anymore. And I think that caused a really negative reaction in players. And I mean, for me, I feel it too. It's like, again, you feel compelled to play the game in a certain way, and if you don't play like that, you're punished for it by not being able to do the things that you wanted to do and you were able to do last week, but not now.
I think me personally, I think the rifts give a lot of ammo and give a lot of resources. I just don't know if we need to add something like a weakening grenade or like a.
That's what I was gonna say, and we could have stuff like that benefits you around rifts or something, or maybe specifically gain from a rift.
I think zombies should just take more damage during intermissions.
Like they used to.
We had that, and we removed it. I think.
Yeah, was it removed?
It was removed for higher tier zombies, I believe.
Yeah.
And
that's kind of the issue because
used to remove all resist, right?
Or it still removes resist. Yes.
Oh, okay, so it still removes resist.
It doesn't linger, I don't think. So the issue is on wave intermission, you just get like destroyed by demi bosses, and maybe it's like certain demi bosses need to be looked at. Maybe it's the count. I don't know.
No, I think well, okay, so we want people to die pushing out for the most part. Like that's the whole thing. We do want like risk versus reward type deal. Like it shouldn't be super safe, but I mean, late game, you have to kind of weigh in the fact that people shouldn't be pushing out, but I think the reward is just too great for some people, and that's just going to be a thing no matter what.
And it kind of
Like-
goes in like, sorry.
We're
do you
gonna
wanna
have
go?
to accept that like there are probably gonna be games where people push out when they shouldn't, or maybe they should push out and they would have benefited from the rewards.
Maybe
So like, just adding more counterplay to actual pushing out, like the ping grenade is a good one, but maybe we could have stuff that only affects intermission. Like there could be like a throwing grenade, like it creates an AOE that reduces zombie damage taken, and maybe it's increased if it's near a rift, something like that.
I
Gnome
think
might be needing nerfing too, to be honest. Specifically Gnome.
Yeah, there are a lot of demis that are
Alpha
probably
Crab.
not carefully
Yeah.
balanced, and
But
they
even bosses, I mean, Butcher, you can just hide around a corner, and it's like, so what? They see you. You're just gonna walk in and kill people and leave too.
I think
mean, that's what always
incremental.
happens.
Yeah, no.
I think
Yeah.
we need to find a good balance between demi bosses that I think fit well, like Breach Prowler. I think is pretty healthy versus like what's a
think
good
we're
example of something
getting a
that's
little
recently
carried
just
away with
opened
this one. We
whole.
got some more topics to talk about too.
Well, just to wrap it up, I think it's more towards stuff like that and less towards stuff like Release Dread Reaper, where it was like literally killing the whole server, but that might have just been an overstat issue.
I mean, he still kills a lot of people running outside.
That's
The
fair.
time to kill of demi bosses definitely needs looking at, because some demi bosses have a very low time to kill compared to others. So
some
I
can
think,
kill even faster than bosses.
yeah,
And it's hard to
so-
kill. They're hard to kill, like flat out.
So-
Like Hulk has a lot of HP.
Well, all demi bosses have a lot of HP at high pop, though. That's a necessary evil,
Yeah.
though, isn't it? They need that.
It's
health
a
or else they
necessary
die.
evil for the game, but like the problem is that they're so much stronger than normal zombies. It's like it's heavily incentivized to stack up and just wait for intermission, and then like as a human, you look at the scoreboard and there's just all yellow. It's just all demi bosses, and it's very very difficult to get anything done. And I don't think we should reduce the power of demi bosses because during the game that makes sense, but for this intermission pushing out thing, it doesn't really because it just makes it very hard. So I'm not sure what the solution is to that.
I think human damage needs looking at. Gnome especially does a lot of human damage.
Mm.
So that's probably
Just
projectiles
specific
pretty harsh
demis
too.
that are unbalanced, probably.
Yeah.
I
I think
mean,
instead
we're
of
always
adding
going to have
something
demi
like-
stacking. I think that's the thing. We're always going to have demi stacking to a degree, but there's
Yeah.
there has to be some sort of balance struck. Like
Mm.
time to kill should definitely go down. We should have more counterplay for intermission pushing out, more tools to like scout corners or reduce damage taken temporarily. Maybe
Yeah.
make it only effective during intermission if it's like not good to have it all game. Just stuff like that.
Yeah.
I also kind of like Dude's suggestion of a mini map to keep track of your teammates. Not for bosses or whatever, but like maybe mark zombies, but mostly just so you can keep control, like so you could keep track of the blob. Most players they have like
Well,
weird
how are we gonna do
transparency
that?
settings,
How are we gonna have like a
Minimap.
mini map? Oh, just like the Z mini
like in
map?
ZE. Yeah,
Well, there's
Yeah,
a,
but those it's kind of useless.
there's a setting that makes it so that even if players are transparent, it draws a small sprite at the
yeah.
point.
It's not super visible though. Like I kind of have trouble seeing it sometimes. It's not easy for me to really quickly. Maybe it can be like a circle on the ground that's like opaque. Maybe that would help.
Yeah, it could be.
Is
do
that
you
what
want
you have
Forest?
for friends? An opaque circle on the ground?
It's
Yeah.
by default off because of visual clutter concerns, but
Okay.
it'll just draw a sprite on the ground regardless of transparency settings. It changes based on their health, and it's a way to quickly gauge how many people are near you.
So maybe there needs to be a better default option if you have everyone transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should be like something like that. Maybe if instead of drawing for everyone, it only draws for transparent people and near you, and we can change the sprite to be small
Okay.
but also quickly visible. Like
That's another
Mm.
issue, I think. Like visuals in terms of like it's suddenly like you don't see anything on one setting and then another setting you can't see shit that you're shooting at, but
Okay. So I've made 2 notes. One, review demi-boss, human time to kill, and then option to see transparent humans better.
Another thing is this like on the state of pushing out, it is heavily map dependent. So
Oh, yeah.
like a house map that has like sigil rifts outside, it's not going to be as dangerous as a map that's I don't know, like the first one that comes to mind is like Big Gun. It's like a very open desert map, and you have to run out and get rifts that are really far out.
Yeah.
I mean, earlier we're playing Catacombs, and we probably had like a 30-person trim because they had to push out, and it was still obviously we just hid behind the corner, and then
Yeah,
when
that
we were
happens so
boss
much,
rushed
man.
them, just instantly lost the game right there.
It also
like every
depends
game.
on who placed the nodes where, because sometimes people like place like really bad nodes in the middle of nowhere, and it like has a lot of travel time.
Have we mentioned early
And-
GEs yet? Sorry.
But no, metagames
Oh, yeah.
later.
Okay.
Playable
One last
change.
note on this. One last note on this for me. The node placement stuff, because we were just only recently allowed to or able to put like rift nodes. Most maps have not been designed with that, and they're not designed around like this whole or the node placement I'm talking about is not designed around like balancing things for rift. We kind of have to go through every map and sort of place those manually and
Yeah,
really think about them.
Yeah.
Because like
we have to change
especially
that.
for every sigil. It's really hard, but like you go through every map one by one and you place the nodes. But
Yeah,
we just have such a
eventually.
large volume of maps.
I've
It's like
been
we're getting
doing-
through it.
I've been doing that like lately now.
Yeah, that's why I don't play the game on wave 1 at all. Placing nodes and nav meshing. It's
Yeah, we
fun.
just have to go through all that. It takes a lot of time.
Okay, so you ready to move on to the next topic? Because I think it's
Yeah.
metagame.
I think so.
What we got? What, metagame or banished? Which one?
Oh, banished. Yeah, banished
this-
is more
oh,
In
important.
order, it
boy,
was
the
gonna be
Banished.
Right here?
banished
This
next.
would be.
Alright, so let's talk about Banish then.
Okay. Well,
Yeah, where
I think Frey
is
wanted to talk about it,
Frey?
but I don't know where he is.
Oh god.
It's okay.
I guess we.
Well, I think what
Okay.
he was talking about was not the removal of it, but I know every dev has their
Well,
own.
I
No,
think I
that
have a
idea has
cursory
been
understanding.
discarded.
Yeah.
We're not
Um,
doing
I
that.
talked
We're
about
not
it a little
removing
bit
it.
in the Banished rework thread under dev, and the idea was to make it so that Banished was. The problem with Banished is that it has like a sort of a double whammy effect. For those of you who may not have heard of where the Banished came from, originally the Banished sigil was actually a crate that could be packed up and placed. And the idea was it was very hard to get, but once you got it, you can place it in the barricade. And, you had to pay with sanity, of course, just like now, but it was very safe to buy stuff, and you got all the weapons, assuming you got the crate in the first place. With the Banished sigil, it spawns outside the cade, it stays outside the cade, and so every wave you have to leave the barricade, navigate whatever system you use to purchase items, whether it be like channeling points or purchasing directly, and then you have to go back to the barricade, and now you're suffering from insanity. So we were discussing mostly what can we do to make the Banished more appealing so that it can stay where it is without having the complaints that we've been seeing. And I believe Frey wanted to remove insanities, and that would be like it would quickly sort of level the playing field, because you already have to risk your life going for the Banished. I suggested some sort of a system where you can move the Banished to the sigil, like maybe one of the sigils can be transformed into a Banished sigil, and it behaves just like regular sigils, but you can buy Banished weapons from it. That way you can have it in the side of the barricade at one point. But I don't know how that could, I don't know the specifics on how that could be implemented, or if we want to go that route. But I think I did a pretty good summary on what Frey was discussing.
Well, Frey was discussing a little bit more about like also reconsidering where weapons are placed, like having certain things be exclusive to the Banished, which is something that I don't want to color everybody's initial perception of it.
I mean, theming,
Well, I mean,
theming
my
was
thoughts
always
on
a
it.
challenge. Theming was always a challenge for the Banished because the Banished came so late in Zeus's life cycle.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Banished is supposed to be like quote unquote weird weapons, but I don't want to say padded out, but that's basically what we did. All the new weapons we made for a time were only Banished exclusive.
Yeah.
It has the needed content. Sorry.
And Rayax is talking about how we add all these military grade weapons that are just normal weapons to the Banished sigil, and the only way we can make them banished and exotic is by adding the weird effects like slag and wither. And Think of it this way: the mini boomstick, that's cursed. That's a banished weapon. The
That is a
Mosin
cursed
Nagant,
weapon.
The Mosin Nagant, not so much.
The occult Uzi. That is super
That's a
cursed.
cursed weapon.
I don't know why the RPK is in there too.
The RPK
I
was
don't
one of
know.
the original ones, and it was moved to the
That was
Yeah.
the
RPK.
original.
It probably should have gotten replaced by the GR9. I think it did,
But
didn't it?
I think there's a
It's moved
very
to the
important
right now.
there's a very important thing though about Frey wanting to move weapons, and one of the things that I really took issue with was he did want to move bounty weapons and make them exclusive to the banished sigil, which I took severe issue.
So
I took severe issue with that.
So
Sorry.
that would require a rework on the axis of Banished Sigil. So, I'm fine with making the Banished Sigil easier to access, provided we keep, the other limiting factors like insanity and stuff like that.
Okay, I think I'd have a better idea for that then. I think just finding the banished sigil should just like unlock a banished tab in all the sigil shops and stuff. And you
For
can
the-
only purchase it if you're near a sigil, but if you're near the banished sigil, you get the discount as
Maybe it
that's what
unlocks
it
it for the
is.
rest of the wave or something.
Does that
I
unlock it
don't
for
know about
everyone or
completely
just the
making it.
person?
Just unlock it. I mean, no,
I
just
think
unlock
maybe
it
like something
completely,
like,
no?
well, in Fearsome, when you found the Fearsome, there I am name dropping another server. When you go to the banished crate, you'd spend a minute packing it up, and then you're able to place in the barricade. Maybe it could be something like the humans have to capture it like a control point in order to
Okay.
unlock it.
Yeah.
Well, then
Yeah, I
it'd have
think-
to be later then. Probably
Yeah.
not initially. Then it would have to
It
be
could be
like,
like
because
a-
it's not very dangerous.
Yeah,
It
You
had
could
to be
do it
like wave
wave 3
3.
maybe.
So maybe the banished sigil could spawn like it does normally, and then like wave 3, 4, 5, it unlocks as a control point, and if all the humans capture it, then unlocks it for all the shops.
Oh,
I
and
would
then you
like
could,
That's
that.
the best way to do it then.
'Cause
You could
I have a
also
serious
reuse-
issue.
I
With-
do have one thing to mention. Like, if you do wave lock it to like past wave 3, probably all the tier 2 weapons are not going to be necessary at that point. So you're going to
Well, you'd
probably
still be able to
remove
access
Yeah, you
it,
buy
but
them before,
No, you still want to
buy them
access
before
them.
they captured it.
yeah, then later on, because like the problem is late game, you just can't go to the banished. Like if you know where it is, maybe you can like make something work. But if you don't know where it is, then it's like you gotta travel around the map or try to listen to instructions, and you gotta encourage people to push with you. And even then, it's not like a rift where you get teleported back. You have to buy your stuff and then walk back to like a rift or whatever. That's really difficult. But also like. I really have an issue with moving bounty weapons there because I just wanted to re-add them. I was just gonna put them back in the game. Like I don't understand why.
The bounty
we wouldn't do
progress
that.
gain?
Yeah, because
I
the
think
problem
they
is
should
that
be
the
put
current
back.
trinkets aren't great. But then Frey was like, I want to move it to the banished, and I'm like, well,
I mean,
that's
you could move it to the banished.
but like, why?
Well,
and
Why?
the reason why was
That's a good
because
question.
we wanted to force people to push out more. We wanted to gate all those weapons behind the banished sigil, which like I get it for like exotic weapons or whatever, but again, this is stuff that was there, was accessible, it was an option, and we're forcing people to get enough points, push out, and probably die to go to the banished
So we're
sigil.
talking
Well-
about the banished, or not the bounty update was just a failure.
Food for thought. We have consumables in the bounty that's balanced around their limited accessibility because you can only purchase like 1 or 2 per person in terms of like actually having enough points to go out to bounty before it starts getting dangerous. Doesn't that mean we would have to rebalance like the consumables, like the gravity grenade and the chalices, or
Probably. Those could be moved to like drops though and stuff like that. I think that would be really interesting to have more, because like that's what I kind of liked when I was making contraband was I really like the idea of just like I'm hitting a drop for ammo and then ooh, this cool thing drops out. Oh, that's really nice. I can pick that up. Like what the hell is in here? It's mysterious. It's interesting. And I was thinking about making one for consumables actually as like a drop, so you get like a choice of 3 consumables and stuff.
yeah.
I think that would be neat.
I
Yeah.
will say maybe like some of the content we had on the back burner or that Magic had on the back burner for Banish could be used as like a capture point style objective, but I'm not going to say what it was. Well, okay, the thing that you said was like another the I don't want to say its name because I don't think people know it exists. Right? Yeah.
Okay. Whatever.
So
I
I
think
would
that'd be
say
the-
the best solution is, like you said, make it an unlockable permanent capture point, and if it's captured, you unlock the banish for everybody.
Yep. Hopefully it
And are we
worked
okay
out.
with bringing back the banished weapons to the arsenal crate? Because again, like I want to enable the blood encrusted butcher's knife again and the harmonizer med kit.
Why was that?
Well,
Are we
Right.
keeping them in the? So we're keeping them in the arsenal.
I want to. I think that should be an option for players as an alternative. I mean, there can be bounty weapons in the Banished, but I think removing the option
Then
and
we'd have
again,
to adjust the innate bounty gain for all of them.
Yeah,
we're
it'd just
probably
be,
going to have to regardless. But
it's just growing
I-
pains for a new system. That's all.
well, it's
Just-
something that players want. It's something that, I think it's more personally. I also think
Some
it's
of the
more
bounty
interesting to
weapons
develop
got
different
reworked,
things.
didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
They did, but
Yeah,
there's things
a
like
lot
the
of them got removed.
blood encrusted butcher's knife that's just gone. And
That
I mean,
had
I
a
know that
unique
weapon
mechanic
needed a rework.
though. That one I don't understand because it had a unique mechanic
don't
on
know.
top of the bounty gain, didn't it?
But I also think things like the Deacon, it could use the bounty gain back. The Coercer Hammer,
The short
they're
stop.
interesting.
Well, Deacon only received bounty gain because the tier 3 or 4 med kit that had bounty gain was removed. So his
Oh, the
compensation
Harmonizer?
was added, but then
Oh,
Deacon was too
I mean, I
good
can
with
see
it.
that.
But
I
then
think the
DPS
Harmonizer's good
players
enough.
were using the Deacon bounties.
Fuck.
Just add the harmonizer back. Why was that
Yeah.
removed? I liked it.
It's back,
The
isn't
elemental
it?
harmonizer.
No, like the
No,
harmonizer, the one that
med kit.
gave bounty.
The
Oh,
critical care kit variant.
we have
Yeah, that
the
one.
two different names. The same. Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Are you suggesting that we have weapons with innate bounty gain again?
Well, yeah.
as
Why
well.
not? I
Then
think
we
it's
could
more
have,
interesting to trade off like different weapon statistics instead of just damage, because I think the damage trade-off is really it's inhibiting. But I'd rather have a clunky, weird weapon that gives me bounty progress that like I can get good with. You know?
Would it double
If they
dip on
came
bounty round?
back, the bounty progress would have to be nerfed quite a bit, I reckon.
That's
Of
fine.
course.
Yeah,
Okay.
and that's what I was saying. We would just bring it back and readjust the bounty gain for how it is now.
Does that mean we should use bounty rounds as an innate attack, like innate rounds on them, so they
We've
can't?
always
That's what
always
it is.
used.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's what it was internally.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what the internal stuff was.
I thought he made
Yep.
like a new thing for. Okay.
Okay, so just making a note for banished, you're saying be able to capture and then buy from the banished within Cades. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
It would be capture. Yeah, it would be capture. Maybe the
Yeah.
point, like you know how it spawns on wave 1. Maybe after wave 3, it becomes a capture point. It's like the same
Okay.
thing. And wave 3 at a random time, it becomes a capture point.
Buy with.
Also, be sure to add a
And-
side note about consumables in it because
No
they probably-
insanities. That's another
No
big deal.
Insanities are removed. I guess we'll
Yeah.
just add
We-
insanities to other stuff.
I
We
have some
can.
plans for insanities personally, but maybe stuff like Forbidden Tuna, but a little more potent. Things that like you trade sanity for some kind of like temporary bonus, or maybe even a permanent one, but you pay for it in insanity, and you're gonna get lethal insanities again if you do that.
Yeah.
I think it's a fun trade-off. Like if you go too far, you're gonna have to start dodging lasers. It's just no way around it.
I was thinking of a really dumb trinket idea where it gives you some bonus damage, but it re-enables lethal insanities
Lasers are
and
already
doubles
back.
the amount.
Sorry.
Like I was just
For
gonna
any
say,
bounty weapons, are they only in the banished? Is that the idea then? Because I think
I
that
mean,
makes
I'd rather
sense.
have
Professor
them not
Gruden
be.
want it. I mean, I don't really have a say in it. I don't.
I
I think
don't
if
really
it's
want-
capturable on wave 3, it's not that big of a deal. It's just you might need to
Well,
move
it's
some of
it's
the
a
lower
big
tier
deal
bounties.
because like again, this stuff is variants of existing weapons. We're just like again taking content that was accessible to players and like stuff that they used and saying no, well you need to go through jump through these hoops to do it. And it's
I
like
mean, we've had stuff like that before. We've done that, but
the whole point of it is just to force players to push out though. And like I get it, you can
well,
put some
eventually
stuff
we'll
in
have
there.
to.
Well, wouldn't you classify bounty weapon as an exotic weapon though? Doesn't that make sense thematically?
Well, thematically, that's
could.
what I'm saying. It does make sense. However, Professor Drew's
Mechanically,
right.
it's-
We did remove them, and people, and again, you won't be able to farm them early anymore. And it hurts support players the worst if you do that, because
Yeah.
it'll be more dangerous. I mean, pushing out early isn't very dangerous. Like waves 1, 1, and 2, pushing out won't get you killed usually.
Okay. So bringing back bounty weapons and tools, but with decreased efficiency.
I was thinking of
and
maybe
I mean,
like
not all of them. They don't all need to be in the arsenal. I think this shouldn't be like a hard rule, but things like the Omen. I don't think the Omen is like a banished worthy weapon. Are we really gonna take that variant and put that in the banished?
it's called the
That's gonna
Omen,
be-
dude. Come
You have to
on.
make it cool, but I think it has potential if it gets a rework.
Yeah, if it gets a rework, then sure. But there should be some like bounty guns that just aren't wacky. They're just normal guns, bounty gain, nothing too crazy. I mean, I
I-
definitely
Bring
want to add it back to
the
the ancient
OG bounty
Annabelle.
weapon.
I think we could probably add trinkets that re-enable lethal insanities or increase the frequency of them as high risk, high reward. like banish trinkets, but I would have to think about how that would actually work with the system because I think it's a good. I think lethal insanities are a good way to balance risk reward if people are willing to choose it, but not if it's forced on them. If that makes sense.
No,
Yeah,
should
and it's
be-
not going to
Well, our
gatekeep
argument
anything.
is that the banish isn't forced.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about an optional like trinkets that you can buy that forces it on you because you're making that choice of purchasing it, not that you have to use it for those
I
weapons.
It's
hope
not like
those
you don't get to
trinkets
use
are-
all these cool guns. I feel like with the
Yeah.
banished especially, there's all these cool guns in there, but I'm like, I can't push out on like wave 4. So if I want to try one of them out later, like if I make a decision about my build later, even for Locust, I just
Yeah.
can't do it because it's just
That's-
I gotta
that's-
rally people. So
that's
yeah,
why I'm
we're fixing
saying-
that. I know, but
That's why I'm saying I think if we use lethal on things that are like more optional as a risk versus reward factor, I
yeah,
think
like the
that's
tuna, you
better.
can heal yourself
Yeah.
at the cost of sanity, and if you eat it too much, you get mercury poisoning and you die.
Yeah, I think stuff like that is fine if we keep it on a per basis like that, as long as it's not gating like a major amount of content like old banished was. I think that's what the issue was, is that it was basically gatekeeping like these very unique weapons that people liked. So I think that was the reason why it was an issue in the first place.
Mm.
Okay, next topic we got dev team or metagame. We'll go metagame first.
Yeah, I've been itching to talk about the metagame
Okay.
quite a bit.
GE is wave 1 spam.
Okay,
Ew.
so yes, so as you all know, I kind of picked up the metagame after a while of it being sort of neglected. I'm not talking about the classes or the great evils or anything. I'm talking about specifically the system of the metagame. Recently, well, somewhat recently, more like a month ago, I fixed a bug that caused the metagame to just not work on the early game. It caused it to not build up properly and resulted in almost no metagame happening. I mean, there was some, like, you'd see some zombies that would get metagame buffs, but, like, unique spawns didn't happen in the early game, and then you got slammed late game by just, like, non-stop GEs.
Maybe it'd be worth going over what metagame is, because I think some people...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Metagame is, it's basically a system that gives zombies unique buffs and spawns special classes if it detects that there is a major imbalance between teams. You'll mostly notice this on wave 1 as a way to kind of spice up the gameplay. You might see some zombies with some really weird buffs on them, and you might see the iconic Great Evils spawn.
Well,
and
Every
kill
wave, every
tons of
time
people.
though. It's every game. Though.
In theory,
I know it's every time.
theory,
It's
wave
every
1.
time. Well,
Even on low pop, it's just
wave
every
1
game.
was something that wasn't actually a thing in history, but given the power scaling of human team, I decided, let's do it. Let's just let it happen. You know, let's spawn great evils, give people something cool to sort of shake up the gameplay.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I think it's fun. One of the problems that I have with the metagame right now is that we buffed great evils quite a bit, and they turned from, you know, something that I think you really could fight and you could stay out there to something that kind of slaughters a lot of the team. And
I don't know necessarily if it's an issue with the early game ones. I think it might just be because on wave 6, it's just for some godforsaken reason it'll spawn like 1 or 2
Well,
Vs just for destroying the Cade.
I sort of fixed that.
It's
The problem also with the wave 6 GEs is because they give out a constant buff aura, and I think we really shouldn't have done that because that is something that scales with the power of Z-Team. If you have a lot of zombies and it's given out a constant buff aura, it's not just like the GE's a problem. Every zombie around it is a problem, and it gets worse with every zombie that's like there. And it also heals them, which is something that's really hard for players to deal with. So I've tried toning it down over like a couple of updates recently. Just like tone down the intensity, tone down the anger that it gets with sigils, get better at detecting when sigils are uncorrupted mid-round. But it's like, still, one showing up is such a big deal. It's a massive challenge for human team to deal with. And I don't think there's any context that really warrants a challenge like that. We haven't had too many sleeper games recently, especially. It's been very difficult to make it to wave 5. Never mind wave 6. So
Maybe
I would kind
you
of like to
should-
turn down their intensity a lot.
Maybe you should consider like the damage buffs on them being conditional as opposed to
Well,
always
that's
being
how
spawned on
it
the
actually is, because
TV.
they also do give buffs to people. A lot of them do have unique buffs that they give out. It's just they're not constant. It's when they get enraged. It's when they land an attack. It's certain things like that that I kind of want to build out instead of having it be a constant aura. I think that would go a long way to help. Also, since they don't get increased damage between waves anymore, having a GE around during intermission is very difficult to deal with. It's like incredibly hard to kill, and it prevents you from pushing out, prevents you from playing the game. And then there's also things like the sigil, the sanity sentinel, just running out of spawn and killing 5 people, and it's like,
Well, what's the most dangerous one? Typically,
I don't know what the most.
Cade?
I mean, it really depends on the situation. Sentinel is very dangerous in a lot
Probably
of
the
situations.
dog.
The
I think
tyrant
it's
can
hate.
grab people and pull them out of.
Oh yeah, that one
Well,
also.
hate's
Is...
dangerous
Well, Sigil
too.
Tyrant can just instantly kill you 20% of the time because it's funny. So
And Heresiarch can dash at you at like 225 move speed. I mean, it's less than
Just
hate, but
very
you don't
slow.
expect them to do that. It's very quick. It'll.
that's
I
a
had
good
one
point.
really.
Did we remove messages for them spawning for no
Yes, we did
reason?
remove messages for them spawning, and that's something that I actually do like as a design choice.
Do you?
Oh yeah, because I think it's
You-
interesting. You know, you're shooting the zombies and you hear
You don't know
roar,
that
and
a
you're like,
big
"What's
flesh
that?"
wall thing is coming at you and killing you instantly, though. It was like a coming
Well, that's one
warning
of the things
that
I was
thing
getting
about to
to.
kill
I
you.
was getting to.
Oh,
They
okay.
shouldn't
like
get.
those kill
They shouldn't get
issue.
Z-gas protection. They shouldn't get Z-gas protection at all. I think you should be able to see them because they do have a short delay after they spawn where they don't attack. But usually that's not worthwhile because they just come out of the Z-gas and you get rushed down by Sanity Sentinel and you didn't notice it. You couldn't see it. I also think with them spawning should have some kind of like effect or something.
Well, maybe you should
some
make the
beat down.
scream louder because
Well, the
scream can
screams are
kinda be-
inconsistent, and that's
Yeah.
one of the issues where it's like, yeah, it's not really clear. So
It
there
should be
are some issues with
global.
telegraphing, but it is global.
Yeah, it
is,
just doesn't
so
work
is,
half the time for some reason. I don't know why.
No, I mean it
Like,
works. It's just it's inconsistent when it plays it. That's the
I
thing.
have a I swear that it's not. I do not hear it half the time. Like,
But anyway, I mean, yeah, telegraphing's an issue. Like I get that. And I just think we made the GEs too strong. I think they're too dominant and they have too much of an impact on the game, especially late game. That's why I really hammered their chances there, or their threshold for spawning, because it's not chance based. Everybody thinks it's like RNG. It's not. It's not RNG. They build up to a certain point over time, and then a GE spawns. It's not like it's rolling dice behind the scenes.
It's guaranteed.
It's almost. I mean, it's guaranteed as long as certain conditions are met, and that's the thing. I mean, but if you look in the channel that we have to log late game GE spawns, you'll see they have gone down on
Yeah.
late game. On early game, it's very easy for them to spawn because again, they were made in an era where humans didn't have high tier weapons in the early game. Humans can really spawn camp way more effectively than they were able to before. That's why metagame gets so angry these days. And I don't know, I think you kind of have to embrace that and make that a fun part of the game because everybody hated the sort of whack-a-mole that was there before metagame was fixed. You just shoot zombies and they would die immediately and nothing interesting would happen. Now you have all these interesting classes that can spawn and things to shake things up. They makes Wave 1 dangerous and scary. Makes camping the gas something that's like terrifying.
To be a little bit contrarian though, I actually do like the current level of most GEs. I like how a Blood Angel could just like come out of the fucking abyss and just start killing literally everyone because they're unaware. I literally think it's only a telegraphing issue. I think it's only a
again, that's
telegraphing
early
issue.
game. I'm talking late game. The buff aura scales with the. It means their power scales with the amount of zombies that there are. So when it spawns in a bad time, like if too many humans are dead, they have a constant battle cry buff, forever. Anything next to it gets a constant battle cry buff and 15% health every tick.
Well, I thought
second.
you were considering nerfing the base stats of the GEs. I don't think it should ever.
I just need to make them more telegraphed, I think.
Yeah.
But we'll see. And also, they got to get their intermission damage bonus back, and they got to be more profitable to shoot. That's another thing that I heard.
To be fair, they were kind of point pinatas before. Like they were.
If they're not profitable to shoot, then you're punishing people for actually fighting them.
Isn't it rewarding enough to not lose the game because this is a thing like hitting your cade for 5 billion damage and you're dying?
Yeah, but then you've punished the people who actually shoot it. You encourage people to not shoot it. Just say let other people handle that.
What? Okay.
Anyway, so those are my thoughts on the metagame. We'll answer questions about it. Sorry if I took up too much time.
Okay, so for metagame, I have telegraphing and GE power scaling were the two main issues. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. The final point that I have now, the big one. Actually, before I get into that, do we have anything to say on medics? I don't think we do, to be honest. I think they're in a pretty good state now. But
we throw in?
Bit to say.
They're
we throw
okay,
in-
I think.
Because
we throw in
there's
the,
been a lot of. I'm sorry. Go on.
Yeah, go on.
Okay. Well, I've seen a lot of medics complain to me. And like I've been in game, and I've seen people say, I just don't want to play medic anymore. I'm going on strike. This has been horrible. And I think this ties into the whole bounty thing. It's been very difficult to get bounties as a medic. It's been, there's been like a different mechanic for it every week now. I hope now that the game mode stabilizes, it's easier. And I understand. I hear you guys. You guys want the Rejuvenator to be looked at, the Sanguisuge to be looked at. You want more focus on pure medic tools. I have no ideas for pure medic tools. All I can really do is balance the existing ones, and maybe if something hits me out of nowhere, I'll get it. But I get that people really don't like the hybrid play style. So
Yeah, so earlier this week I did release an update that buffs the healing from several tools. And I do know that regarding pure medics, Xerxes was working on something, a new medic tool, but I don't know what's happening with that. I haven't seen that even a long
Are you
time.
talking about the the one where it makes you fly around, or the one where he made the med gun hit scan? Which one?
The Mercy Staff.
Oh yeah, he's been busy with college and he pretty much forgot about it. But
Okay.
I could remind him because I know he wanted to work on it for light, but he
Yeah.
never got the chance because he got busy with college.
Yeah, I think that would be a nice addition if we could see that.
I mean, yeah, like people complain that medic doesn't like have like chances to push out or like go outside and roam. At least that mercy staff thing, like it gives a lot of agility for using a
Yeah.
medic tool, so it'll help like the vulnerability of medic players a lot if he added that.
Yeah. And we did reintroduce the other med kits as well for people that want to just only pure medic. So their options have been returned. So we'll just continue to monitor medics really, but I think they're in an okay state right now.
What's the highest tier pure medic or like pure healing? Tool?
I think it's still the
Rejuvenator?
Rejuvenator, yeah.
isn't the Rejuvenator T4 now though?
Tier 4.
Yes, then that's the highest.
There should be a tier 5 and tier 6. Changed my mind.
Well, that's what Xerxes was doing.
Yeah,
but
Xerxes
Oh.
was
on hold.
making that.
Unless you have
The
another
mercy
idea.
staff was supposed to be a banished tier 4, I thought.
What? Really?
Well, don't we already have the white
I
mage
think
staff
he was
as
going to make it a
as
banished, and he was going to make the alternative to the rejuvenator because it heals less than the rejuvenator, but it had the gimmick of like damage boosting players as well.
Okay, well, the problem with like adding more pure healing for more like higher tiers is that we don't want people to just be unkillable.
Yeah,
So
obviously, but
that's
and,
another
like-
thing we have to consider.
like you're going to expect someone going to constantly pocket a shield main, and that's going to make them invulnerable.
We have to be kind of careful about how we have pure healing above tier 4.
well,
Yeah, I think the existence
yeah,
of shield
but
kind of, you know.
we also have what is it? We also have like T6 medic hybrid weapons that can arguably out heal things like the Rejuvenator. So
Yeah.
it's a tough balance to strike, and I think there is room for options for higher tier medic weapons. It's just they are medic tools. They just I think that is a really valid concern.
Yeah.
But we can do it. I
But
think.
generally, pure
SDKs.
healing is supposed to be better than the hybrid healing.
that's true, and that's
In
not
theory.
really the case though.
Well, no, I meant like tier-wise. But yeah, that isn't always the case, even for things in the same tier.
Pure healing should be more effective and just better overall in comparison to the hybrid, but currently that's not entirely the case. In some
Well, not only
situations,
that, it's also the ease of use. Like
Hmm.
like it's just it's
Well,
you don't have to do anything to heal the rejuvenator.
Yeah.
But you
well,
do
the
Would you want a
evangelist,
healing
you just kind of
profit.
shoot zombies. You just shoot zombies, and it heals people around you for shooting.
I mean,
Like,
would you want a
that's
more
about it.
active healing weapon then? That was just like only pure healing, but has a more active system somehow. Like you have to constantly switch people, like an overheal.
Well, that was one of the things that I was thinking about, like the Rejuvenator, and it did have a heat bar at some point that kind of limited it. So you had to like choose when you were healing people and stuff. But apparently medics didn't like that, and I never really got to play with it before the medic update. So I don't know what that's
We-
actually like.
I mean, obviously,
We just
there's
need,
a,
one
The
or two
NPCs
good
did not
pure
like
medic
it.
weapons, high tier.
if there's the heat from the rejuve, obviously it'd have to be buffed to compensate because you're going
Well, yeah.
from constantly healing with no drawback to, oh shit, there's actually a cooldown now.
But yeah, like strong burst healing, but you got to worry about the cooldown, and if you use it at the
Yeah.
wrong time, it's like, oh,
I don't think that's a problem at all. Like, I think it'd be a
because
fair
it
trade-off.
does feels very boring right now. It's just a slow drip feed of a heal, and you just hold it on somebody, and you turn your brain off. And I think
Well, we
that's
got
like,
rid of the heat management because medics didn't like it, though.
and that's the thing. Like, if players didn't like it, and it didn't turn out to play good,
Yeah.
then it shouldn't be there.
We tried it,
but-
and people just got put off by using the weapon entirely.
Mm.
It was
Maybe
a
we should
whole
bring the
thing
medic
for 'em.
grenades out of the contraband.
Oh, that's dangerous. I don't know about that.
That's dangerous.
So
Actually, aren't we doing that anyways? If we're gonna make the thing a capture point, they're gonna be more accessible at that point anyways.
What?
So I'm saying
What?
if we do the banished capture point idea,
No, they're in
then they're more
contraband.
You said
accessible anyway.
contraband, not
They're not in the
banished.
banished.
Oh, they're in contraband?
Yeah. The medic, the
When-
transfusion and the medic grenade are in contraband.
The medic cloud grenade?
No, the grenade weapon. Like it's a weapon
Oh,
that is
okay.
focused on AoE. It works like a med kit, except it's AoE heal and it has a really long cooldown.
I mean, you can probably just move that
Oh.
to banish, to be honest.
Well, that's what it used to be.
it was
Oh.
merged. So the medic grenade was sort of merged with the bishop, and then the transfusion was
Mm.
merged with the apostle.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
That's why. Okay, so I think for medics, then the main point is more options for pure medics, specifically late game.
Now, something FW had is they had a tier 6 medkit. I'm sure Kevin remembers. And what it did is it had like its own UI and everything. And
Oh,
like you could
Andrew's
heal
weapon.
you could heal people from any. Well, originally there was a range on it. Actually, no, I think there was always a range on it.
No, it
But you-
used to be this. There used to be a deployable, and it was the tool. You would put the deployable down, and anyone near the deployable would be shown in the UI of the menu, and then you could heal anyone in the menu as you chose. And then there was a remantle branch that gave defense and strength boost.
That's kind
And
of
then it got rebalanced to the fact where they removed the deployable aspect, and then they made it so instead it's around the player. And you basically had like kind of like a UI where you just selected people on your screen to heal, and you could just, it was great for like mass healing a bunch of people because it had a cooldown on each individual person rather than
wasn't
all
a-
the people.
What are you saying that we make medic just like clicking buttons on a UI?
No, no, that's not what I'm saying.
I'm saying is like it was a cool concept for a tier 6 medkit. And it was interactive, and it wasn't just, a boring like holding M1 like the rejuve.
And like
Now, I
you
might be-
said, you wanted like more, didn't you say you wanted to create an incentive for people to heal more of multiple people rather than a single person?
Well, no, I
Well,
didn't say that. I think direct
Who
healing is actually pretty
mentioned that?
engaging.
Someone did mention that. And I mean, that could be a good solution, giving a
Well,
cooldown for each individual person if you heal them.
I
that
think
would
it's
be that would be a severe nerf. I think the cooldowns
I'm not saying
are,
that for the medic like tools. I'm saying
Yeah.
just for like a new medic weapon. I'm not
It's a
saying that for the
concept for a
med kit.
different day, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that would be
So
cool
you
because
refined.
I'm kind of biased towards micromanaging mechanics because
I don't
I
want
love
to be in a menu.
RPGs. Yeah,
I
it's
sit in the
it's just
menu
the
and
win
click
the
buttons.
menu.
Well, and the problem with it was that it was overly complicated. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
the
it doesn't
concept was
need to be a
cool.
menu, but it's
The
like
concept was
considering
cool.
like we don't have to make it a
Probably
menu, but
streamline
maybe make it a new medic weapon if we're too concerned about people pocketing someone because it's a high tier and it's going to heal a lot. We could just give it so it like has a cooldown in each individual person, but you could heal a lot of people very fast. So it incentivizes you to heal a mass amount of people rather than a pocket.
Well,
of
we
person.
already also have some AoE healing weapons, and I
Mhm.
think there's work that can be done on that to make, because like spread feast. I mean, you just kind of like do it, and it distributes the healing to people. Everybody can only get a certain amount, but
Mhm.
they don't waste healing if it's not spent on them. Stuff like that. It's just you just see a lot of hurt people. You think in your head, everybody's hurt here. I should use this, and maybe you do a little math calculation to see like, okay, this person's red, orange, whatever. Eat the food,
Mhm.
healing goes out. You get to
Mhm.
see how you did. I mean, it's like stuff like that. That's simpler and just straightforward.
Mhm.
I think that would be ideal.
All right.
But yeah, we're getting a little carried away here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
How about-
So we have
oh.
we've got one more point, and that's discussion about the dev team itself. I think Scott wanted to talk about that. The other thing is, I'm not sure when we should talk about it, but like potential like future plans. But I think me taking all these notes sort of summarizes what our future plans are, anyways. Unless people have specific things they'd like to work on in the future that they haven't brought up yet. The only one for me is just the shop rework for Sunhut, as I mentioned before. So more Sunhut stuff, but that's about it.
Fun
really.
HUD.
Yeah, I want to rework the Arsenal menu.
Oh yeah, Rayox. We can get.
yeah.
Yeah, we can talk about that I guess after this point, but there is a random weapon button that's being worked on,
Yeah.
and we could probably bring that up after the dev team talk. To be honest,
Okay, I'll
Just
make
talk
a
about
note.
it now
Does
if you want.
you want to talk about it now? Okay, well,
Yeah, sure.
Do the dev team thing last.
Rayox is making a system where in each tier there is a random weapon button where you press it and you get a 10 to 15% discount. The numbers are still pending on a weapon that will be randomly purchased in that tier of a variant or a weapon. So we wanted to gauge feedback of, do people like the idea of a random weapon button? Because I think it would be a very fun mechanic for people who typically want to like spice up their build from game to game and to have something dictate their weapon. But like, do you think it should have different bonuses? Do you think a discount is like good enough, or like
Probably
what?
a discount on the price and then the scrap upgrades.
Yeah.
I think that's
Keep in
good.
mind there is a cooldown on buying the weapon in terms of like scrapping it, or like buying it on a discount and then scrapping it to try to like curb scrap abuse. But that's a whole other thing that is pending on it.
Well, if you're scrapping the random weapon, it should be worth less anyways, right? To
Yeah.
prevent
Yeah.
abuse.
But that needs some
That-
kind of system to
that
be
has
developed to
be
like
in
mark
place.
weapons.
Yes.
Yeah.
You need to mark weapons as discounted. I think that'd be okay. All right. Anything else?
Didn't someone mention the queue system? Was it
What?
Scott mentioned the queue system? Like you can
Well,
queue
those,
weapons and
those are just future things that I think we talked about in previous Q&As. I just brought it up again. Just like, because
queuing
we were
shop
supposed to,
stuff.
yeah, just like,
Yeah.
if you had the points for something, you'd automatically get it, so you could just queue it up
Yeah, that'd be cool.
and never have to open the shop if you didn't
I
want
would love
to.
that.
Yeah.
I hate menuing.
for the
I love
sweaty players,
menuing.
the sweaty players will profit even more top score points.
I mean,
I
you
want
could probably
more
just
menuing
plus
mechanics.
attack at a door, and then I guess you would probably just AFK for the rest of the game.
Yeah, we're gonna add an
Utility
cumbersome
turrets.
system to ZS where you have a weight of an inventory and you have to start dropping shit like an
Don't
RPG.
don't
Oh
even
my
joke about that
God.
one. Don't even joke about that.
Add the Left 4 Dead take or break system where like an AI takes control for a while.
We already have that for bots.
I
What
would
are you
love
talking
that.
about?
I would love that.
For
Let's do
playable
that for
Gs.
bosses too. If you
No
spend too much
playable
time on
Gs. We keep saying
Alright,
that.
yeah, we're
Well-
getting sidetracked.
Oh, he makes a good point, though. I'm gonna make a note of that.
Were we talking about like future plans as well?
Yeah, if you have any plans
I mean-
for the future.
Obviously it was supposed to be a side thing, and I kind of stopped working on it a bit, but I'll plan on going back to it. But it was going to be mainly about like the Sparkwork weapon skins, where
Okay.
it was going to have. I mean, obviously you saw, and I think you got upset that you saw your Remantler skin didn't work for the summer. But
all the
eventually, like
seasonal skins, yeah.
we'll add like, I mean, what I planned on doing was to reuse like your seasonal skins, but make them like in the Sparkwork shop, so then people can purchase them and they can keep them, and then
I
when they
just
put
get
down a
them for
Remantler,
free or really cheap, the ones that already existed.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
The ones
I
that
think
they
that
lost them.
should we make a new version that's free during the event, because the whole event idea was to have them festive, but you know.
maybe.
I mean, you
maybe
could
just
just
or
make
maybe
them
just
anyway.
make it the default one while it's the event. So if no one has a skin enabled, then they can just use the default one, which is the
I
event
think
one.
deployable skins
Yeah.
for like seasonal stuff would be cool because we have avatar frames, banners.
Uh-huh.
Why not have deployable stuff too?
We used to have
Yeah.
zombie
Spot
skins,
lamp
but I think they
skins.
were
I-
crashing
Spot
or
lamp
something.
skins.
I
Yeah.
asked people to make like stuff like cool Remantler and resupply skins, and the only person that really gave me any was Captain Chewbacca. But it would be cool if people made like their own, like kind of like a Pooflet Industries kind of resupply box, or
No
mean the
anime.
brown
big
Remantler?
goal,
The
big
brown
goal
Remantler,
Remantler.
yeah.
It's just like people
Colorable
can be
zombie
creative
jibs.
with
I
it.
like that. I like colorable zombie jibs.
From Nox.
Gibbs?
But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know if you
No,
guys
I don't know
were
why.
like
I think Jepu removed that from Nox stuff, and he said it was causing issues.
I also have like one
Okay.
question between you
Bring
guys.
back
But, like,
Frosty Aura.
I don't know how you guys feel about like not only having it for deployables, but also having it for certain weapons. I say certain weapons because I know a lot of weapons cannot work with it because of the swap and whatnot. But I'm talking about like certain weapons, like the knives, where it's more universal. and it
I
can be
don't know
used
about
for
weapon skins
It's
themselves.
just nobody's gonna see it.
Yeah,
like,
nobody's
it
gonna
kinda
see
defeats
it.
the
Wait, you
Only
want
you're
like
gonna
knife
see it.
skins like Counter-Strike where you start waving it
Yeah,
around
like
like
Counter Strike, kind of
you're
like
dead?
But nobody
people.
sees it,
Nobody's
though.
gonna see it at all, man. That's the thing.
I
I mean,
we have
the
to
people in
like.
No, we're gonna
CG
make
that
it so
before.
we're gonna make it so it force renders through the invis layer, so you
Yeah.
have to see the knives.
No, I have an
Those
idea. I have
deployable
an
skins are
idea.
good.
Yeah.
So, you know how when you walk.
So you kind of don't like the idea of like having the gun itself have the skin due to the fact that no one else can see it, right?
I don't think it's worth the effort.
Yeah, I
it would
mean,
be a lot of
because
effort
people
on something
already
that's
can have
invisible.
client side like add-ons that change the skin for themselves.
Exactly.
So you do have a
I-
point because it would be only client side, and players can already do that.
I did not. No, I've never supported like an actual in your hand weapon skin.
Wait, we should do like chests that have Remantle skins in them, and then we have very rare Remantle skins that like glow and
Shut up.
shit.
I have a
Yeah,
serious
you get an
idea.
addiction with
Oh
that.
my
Okay.
god.
When you walk
And then
by
you have to
somebody
spend
and you
money
see their
on-
name
I,
and you see the weapon that they're
I-
holding.
I think we
I was
get
thinking
it
maybe
now.
we could personalize that a bit. You know? Because like
Maybe.
that's something that's been in the game forever and it's very
Also,
visible. But,
another
like,
thing.
what if you could customize that with like a color or maybe like an icon or something just to show you like that's who that is? Because you can see those player names regardless of like
Yeah.
at low transparency.
Also, another thing about the Sparkwork thing is like, I mean, this is more direct, like what people have requested for years, probably, or months, but basically adjustment for the cosmetics. Because I notice a lot of the time, whenever there's new player models or new cosmetics, like a lot of the times hats don't fit. It's either too big or it just
That's the
doesn't
fault of the
rotate
people who had the
well.
player models.
Yeah.
It's I wouldn't say we
yeah.
should say, oh, like we should manually adjust them per player model.
We
I
have
feel like we
to,
should
though.
give players
You have to do it for the
has to be-
bones, dude.
Yeah, that has to be.
Yeah.
And that brings up
has to be
another-
that way.
Can
Someone
you
has
not
to-
have it where people can adjust it though?
But you
I
can have
mean,
when
I
they
guess
where
you
they could adjust it a little bit, but it's like on our it's our fault. You bought a player mod and we didn't dial in that head bone adjustment. That's on
Yeah.
us.
That
Also-
effort should be expected.
But
Yeah.
like I'm that's not
But
what I'm
he's saying, I know what he's saying. He's saying you can
Like,
adjust it yourself,
yeah.
and that would
Yeah.
require, I think, a little bit of a rewrite of how we do cosmetics because you can't have individual slots and stuff. That was
Yeah.
that was
Let's
all
not,
stuff that was planned, and there's not much we can do about it. And not only that, there's hats with like 40 models, and then
Yeah.
there's no.
I mean, we
option
could
for
do- we
single
could
model
do-
hats or anything.
we could do like you can have it where it adjusts all of the props inside of like a
I hope
single
you
hat.
know that before we do any of that, most people have hats off.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
that too.
People do not care about cosmetics as much as you think.
It was
Yeah.
it was supposed to be like a lightweight system, and for some reason we started adding hats that have like 30 fucking props to them, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
I think there was a certain people who did not care about quality assurance, or there was also people who did not care because it looked cool. And whatever the case, that's where we are today.
Can't we just
Yeah.
use the Nox system like you suggested, where it would
That was
limit the amount
laggy.
of props per hat? Like
Well,
Scott also
I mean,
mentioned
now we
it.
can do that. Again, no one's been doing it, so.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
would be
I
a lot
think
of time
just
on something that people aren't
deployables.
going to enable regardless.
Yeah.
Again,
If
like
you're gonna
UI
add
On the
more-
stuff, I
topic
think
of
would be
skins,
good.
yeah, the deployables maybe, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
No weapon skins.
Okay.
Let me change the
okay.
color of my name that shows up below me so people know it's me. I think that's,
We
again,
get to
I think
add
that's
more
really
solo
cool.
Oh, I
references?
don't think that should be like, I don't know, maybe an icon with that, but I don't know about
Yeah.
that.
Something.
Okay.
A badge,
So
you're saying?
I think that's all the points then. The only point left was for Scott, really. If he wants to talk about the dev team.
We all
Do you want me to address like the
Yeah.
perception of the dev team, or
I
do you
think
want
so.
like the development inside? I'm not sure. Like to
Well,
talk.
if you have
what to
anything
talk
you'd
about.
want to talk about
Oh.
regarding
Yeah.
the dev team in general.
Let's see. Well, obviously there is like there has been a few people who have come up to me that are developers and say that there is a bit of infighting.
We're the
And
strongest I've ever been.
but there is also a bit of infighting, and there is no hierarchy in development. There's only like, you're a dev, you're kind of on equal ground. But I guess like there's like pseudo lead devs and seniority type stuff, or people who kind of know more. So like another thing is like there's also been like shit talking of other devs when they're devs, or just being passive aggressive. And I haven't really done much about it, but I guess I should. Where it's like kind of not okay for other devs to shit on other devs, and then there's like revert wars in the update logs, and that's also a cause for concern because it just looks bad.
Yeah, but what if you're
So,
revert warring yourself? You ever consider that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, people should communicate their changes better, and also there's also a bit of stubbornness between some discussions that happen, where I guess I would have to be the one to get involved, otherwise nothing changes. So yeah, I mean that's really about it. So I guess more would be discussed between devs, more so
Yeah.
than out here. But just know that like, you know, it's kind of like hard to police every message that's ever said or like address it. But we should at least do our best to not make ourselves look like clowns in the update logs, because that's
Okay.
it's kind of annoying. Yeah, not really name dropping anyone here.
Amen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I think it's to be expected with the dev team being so big now, isn't it? There's bound to be conflicts, so on, and
Yeah,
we never did
definitely.
really address it.
Yeah, like, I mean, like the whole like Pooflet's vision thing, I think sometimes can go a little bit too far. But I mean, I don't know if it's really fair for me to say that. But you know,
I mean,
Well,
we
that
have a
is
lot of
like a
strong
kind of a meme.
personalities.
It is like kind of like a meme. You got like the Pooflet vision, and people like. I think Pooflet has done a lot of the dev work.
Yeah.
So
it just sometimes, you know,
there is no dev hierarchy, and I'd rather there not be one, because people should just come and go as they please and work on what they please.
I think sometimes like it's just like a conflict of personalities sometimes, where one people think one thing should be a certain way, like on bounties, and another thing. But, you know,
Well,
it's
it's-
everyone tries to work together. Everyone tries to work together. We're trying to be like a big happy family. You know, these clashing ideas can help development because it gives different insight on certain mechanics. You know?
Well, I mean, there's upsides and there's downsides, like with everything. I think ultimately, what the players really want should be held in the highest esteem. And I mean, I know players sometimes don't know what they want. I'm not saying like 100%, but if I release something and if players are telling me, Drew, this sucks, you should really not have done that, I at least try to reconsider that and be like, oh, I really messed that one up. Sorry, guys. Because again, like if it ruins the play experience, you really got to be conscious of that. And I feel like also there's some updates that just dominate the game, and it's like we got to be very careful about those. We got to be super careful, like boss balance and all that stuff. It's something that you can't just do and then, oh well, the games might suck for the rest of the night. I wash my hands of this. I'll fix it tomorrow.
Well, that's another thing. There is like an unwritten rule, like you don't fuck with someone else's stuff without telling them. I mean, it's not like a rule; it's just like courtesy. You try to like
sometimes
be
it's like
respectful of people's stuff.
Then we run into the issue where like someone thinks something is fine, and then it's clearly not fine in another
Well,
person's
yes,
opinion. And then...
that's a different type of discussion.
Who's the
though.
arbiter of fine?
That would probably be me.
Yeah, I mean, Scott
and I don't really put my foot down a lot of the time, so unless it's
Yeah.
very egregious.
Yeah.
Like I'd say the bounty stuff was a little more egregious, and that was like against what I thought was okay. So that was kind of like a discussion.
And then
So I
stuff
mean,
like...
well, my opinion on stuff that's being left, like breaking the game overnight, like people just, you know, it happens. I've done it before. I've been a clown. Like I've changed something. I went to bed. There's videos of it. Where
Forgetting a comma.
no, that was the Wonder
Everybody's
Waft.
done
No,
that.
the comma forgetting was like, I think more for voice lines and stuff. But
Yeah.
there's one
Oh, the
time
Wonder
where
Waft where you like
I
do
went the
40...
Wonder Waft and I missed a decimal, and it was just like an ultra rapid fire
was awesome.
ultra rapid fire
Oh,
gun.
God.
And then
Man, why
I
could I
think
have been
Dude
there
has a
for
video
that?
of it. Dude has a video of it.
Who is that one staff member that
yeah.
got demoted because Scott forgot a quotation mark?
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Was that a quotation mark?
There's a quotation mark missing in the staff file and ended up demoting like 5 other staff.
Oh,
I remember
right.
that.
Okay,
That's
yeah, that
awesome.
was in the admin list. That was recent.
I'm sure everybody
Oh, yeah.
remembers the Professor Drew database incident. I forget when that was, but
How about the
it
Professor
happens.
Drew force push? That was interesting.
Should
That
we
was
talk
not my
about?
fault.
That was
Should
funny.
we?
though.
No, there was
should we
another
address?
one because
Oh,
that wasn't clear.
Should we
No, you can't
address how
force
the
push.
devs feel on bounty balance because we all have different
We already
opinions
did.
on it?
I think
we
we
just
already
did.
did.
Where were you?
Yeah, we had
No,
the,
no, no.
we had the whole
I
discussion
know,
at the
I know
end.
that, but I mean like more in depth of like what you think, like the
I have no
system
idea.
should be.
I think
I
that's a
don't know.
question for the community.
Exactly.
That's
Like-
What
more
does the
for the
community want of the
community.
bounties?
No,
Do you
like
miss the
the
old
whole.
system? Do you like the current one? You want
Well,
tweaks?
I
Like,
was
what do
I
you
was
want?
going to post a Q&A about what people thought of like where they
That's
think the bounty
communication
system
with the
should
player
go.
base, and you
Yeah.
didn't do that.
No, because I was told to do it after the Q&A. Because
Oh, then okay, then we'll do it after the Q&A.
Yeah.
Like community input is more important a lot of the times. Like that's what I normally go off of.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, it's still just a game that we can make whatever we want. We determine where the power lies,
yeah,
and people
fair.
give their feedback. They want to enjoy the game how they want to, give or take. There can only be like one game of this. Like if everyone's playing on the same
Yeah.
thing, so kind of have to strike the balance.
However, I think we definitely can do more to accommodate different play styles and try to bring back
Yeah.
the things that people like and try to make an effort not to just remove things. I mean, I loathe to do it. You know,
We
just
want
pull
to
things out and
accommodate
say that this is
everybody,
different. Yeah.
as many people as we can.
That's why you might have
So
seen
that's-
some older bounties come back in a slightly more balanced state and a really hard to get method. But
Impregnate zombies. We need
Yeah,
that.
that's
oh
another
my
idea
god, I
we
can't
had.
believe
but
we
we
just
didn't.
said that on the dev stream. It's over.
I mean, you were fucking doing a bikini model. Like I don't.
That's
I don't-
true.
Hey, don't
Get this
talk
guy
about
out of
it.
here.
Nah,
Get this
leave
guy
him
out of
alone.
here.
That's fine.
You what?
Hmm?
Nothing.
All right. So,
Okay, so
should we
questions.
go into the questions section now?
Yeah, we should. We should take the
Yeah.
community's wonderful
Okay.
questions that they've been.
Oh
What?
my God.
What? It's not a joke.
You
They have
didn't
good
read
questions.
it. You didn't read it. You didn't read it.
Oh.
It's okay.
Okay,
Nothing. Nobody
so
saw anything.
we have
was
a
it the
bunch
thing? Oh.
of pre-written questions. Do we want to bring people on stage as well?
We
Do we
have
want to
pre-written
bring
questions.
people?
No, give
Pooflet.
them on. Let them come on stage. We can
Let 'em
address.
come on
the
stage?
You want
pre-written
people like
Okay.
Monkey on stage?
I think
Yeah.
people want to talk. So,
Everyone's allowed on stage.
Okay, Pooflet, where can I find the
well, who's
questions?
going to be in charge of letting people in
What?
and taking requests?
Firestorm.
What about the Brown or Mantler? We never spoke about that.
There's
or
only
no
one
Rayox.
person requesting to speak. This monkey.
Not Rayox. Didn't Necrosson wanted to say something about the Brown or Mantler, or is that like a meme?
That's an actual
You're a meme.
trap point now.
It's
It's a
real.
capture
Okay.
point now.
Should we just take KV
Okay.
first?
Okay, so is
Oh.
it still the same thing? One question per person?
One question per person. If they
Okay.
try to ask another question, take them off stage straight away because we
Yeah,
have a
take
lot
'em
of
out.
questions to answer.
Should we do
Anything
KV?
else, if you have multiple questions, anything else should just be put in the proposal or in a channel for us to eventually get to. But on stage, we want to respect everyone's time. One question per person, please.
Also, really consider your question. Don't be like, "Hey, can you buff this?" Because
Yeah.
we're probably just going to say
We'll
no.
just say yes.
Please.
Or no.
Please be concise with your questions. Okay. So let's start taking people on stage.
Should we do KB first?
Firestorm.
Might as well get the worst
Monkey,
over with.
No, Monkey was
Don't
first.
don't say that, Gorma.
What?
That's mean. That's mean.
Oh, I didn't mean to.
You said
Sorry.
get the worst over with.
KB has good ideas. Listen, he knows it. I'm not a mean guy.
Don't
If we
single
bring
out
KB up, I
community
just
members.
request that KB you don't order any food when you come up on stage this time. Please.
Okay.
So top to bottom.
Yeah, whoever's first.
Okay, there we go.
First, okay.
There we go, Monkey.
Yo, what's up, Sunrust?
That's not a
Yo,
question.
what's up, monkey?
Oh my god, shut the fuck up, Gorma. Can we disable shields? It's the worst thing
That's
to
the
ever
worst
be
question.
added
No,
to
that's
CF.
bad
Shut
question,
up.
bad question.
Shut up, Gorma. So actually, there's a real
disabling
question.
shields.
Can we please investigate bashing causing me to be at 30vel on respawn? That's not that fun.
It seems
Whenever I
like
get
knockback
bashed by
does
a
persist
shield,
on
I kind of
respawn.
just
I've noticed
stay
that
at
too.
30
Don't worry.
velocity. It's really awesome.
Yeah, no, I think just the knockback status doesn't get cleansed or when you die or something like that. I've noticed that with a couple of statuses,
That's
so I can
weird.
look into that.
That's really
Yeah, it's really weird.
What's with
Well, no,
the
certain
view tilt
statuses are
too?
made to persist.
No,
They're made to persist after spawning.
The thing is, I was involved a lot with the status rework, and thinking about that, that's weird because that shouldn't happen unless someone explicitly marked it as something that should persist.
I've noticed it with a couple of things. That was a problem. Like the Nidus spawn buff would work like that.
That's gonna be
Spawn
a
rush would
weird
work
bug
like
to
that.
track down.
Either it's a bug or it's just a wrong boolean somewhere. But I don't know about like your velocity persisting too, because again I've noticed that as well, and I don't know what to do with it.
Okay, cool.
It's like leg damage.
Yeah, maybe it's the leg damage that's persisting. I'm not sure.
How do you
All I
pick
know
up
is
the
how like
Not done.
I'll respawn after getting bashed by like a red sun, and then I'm like moving at 60 until I die again.
Oh, and
That does sound
I
like.
think I did track down what was causing that tilted vision on respawn thing. So I'm gonna have to bother HST about that.
How do you move people back to the?
You
Kick
can't.
'em.
I'm here now. Good luck.
Wait.
Right.
So,
Timeout.
Thank you for the question, Monkey.
Slow on respawn. Okay.
okay. So the next person is Kosksev. I don't even know how to say it.
Hello, I've come to ask it. What was the bounty update's main purpose other than just, preventing people from getting bounties super quick?
So I can answer that. The main purpose of the bounty update was to encourage pushing out, leaving the barricade, and hunting zombies during intermission, because we think the game is a lot more enjoyable when people are outside of barricades. It's also solved a good problem where bosses can no longer stack as easily because there's no more zombie gas, so it's harder for you to get stacked puke pluses or whatever. So that was the main reason for the change.
Thanks. That's all I needed.
Okay,
Thank you for the
so
question.
next person is Zen the Assassin.
Oh.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, my question is, can we make blood armor healing count towards work gloves progress? Because right now it's only doing
Does it
yeah,
not?
blood armor. I'm pretty sure blood armor doesn't count towards
I know
it.
how to fix that if it isn't.
Because I apply a leech or pure blood armor healing and nothing's
A
happening.
leech,
It's
that'd
just
be
the regen and the pure health healing that
Okay.
counts.
Well, wouldn't there need to be a penalty on that then?
Yeah.
Applying blood armor healing?
I don't think so. I mean, blood armor healing, you could just. I mean, maybe it could use a penalty.
Isn't that
Well,
OP?
the trace
though?
kit already has a penalty, so it should be fine. That's just a bug then if it doesn't
Kind of
have
scary.
Because like I added healing items for chef, like the bloodfish that primarily focus on blood armor healing, and I mean that's okay.
So people are saying blood
shouldn't-
armor healing is rare. Sorry.
Shouldn't the bounty gain from the work gloves scale to the actual points gained rather than the healing? Since
Why?
the blood armor healing already has reduced point gain, doesn't it?
Yes,
Oh.
it's pretty abysmal.
So shouldn't it scale to the actual points rather than the healing done
That
effectively?
would be very punishing, and that would make it not work like it does now, where it's like. I think having it be based on healing just makes more sense in general, because there's also things that heal that like don't. They like have different point multipliers, I think, so
Yeah.
it can get kind of weird. And
But
then you
if
have the whole
blood
queue
armor
you gotta
healing
deal
People are
with.
saying it was removed. Was it removed?
What?
Was what removed?
Oh, apparently, what Insanity Bomb was talking about was removed, but I don't understand exactly the whole context of what they're saying. To be honest.
Okay,
I don't know.
so
We'll
blood
look into
armor, I'll have a look at that, I guess. It's not counting towards bounty because it should if you have the gloves. So I made a note of that. So thank you for bringing that up.
All right, I'm gonna just leave the stage.
All right, next person is the world famous content creator KB.
Yeah, okay, it's enough with the titles, but hello. All right, this one's for Pufflet. So when you talk, so what is this vision that you speak of? Because sometimes this vision seems to be either like used as a rationalization or based for like some like really questionable nerfs. Because sometimes something will be nerfed and you'll be like, oh, it was planning on getting nerfed anyway, or it was part of the vision, or we're decreeping it. So can you just give us like a clear, like just to double down, just a clear general consensus on what your vision is and how does it line up with other devs and how they feel about it as well?
Oh boy.
Well, this vision you speak of, I think you'll find that everyone else besides me brings it up more than I do, and they usually bring it up as a meme for anything that I do. But if we're talking about my actual vision, it's always been about how can we make the game as enjoyable as possible for everyone. That is the the core thing about the vision, I guess. What
You know,
can we do to
sometimes
make the game
the
as fun?
sometimes the
And
vision has him like die to something and it gets nerfed. Sometimes it gets buffed. Like who knows? Like,
Okay.
yeah,
Because we
but
look
I
at
wouldn't use it as an
oh,
excuse for because the vision said so or anything. There's usually a
yeah.
legitimate reason behind it.
okay. Because we look at certain things like, for example, let's put an example: singing chime or ice cure. You said ice cure was planned to get nerfed, but when we look at the evidence here and we use evidence-based rationalization, you nerfed it after, say, you lost to a guy who didn't even proc it once, or
What?
Second
you
question.
lost to a
What
person.
are you talking?
No, Ice Cure was nerfed because when we look at the evidence behind, say something like Ice Cure, we have a guy named Izar who kind of like took you and a really bad Devo on, and it feels like part of it was skill issue, and it felt like you were trying to rationalize it.
No, I understand where that comes from. Absolutely. It makes sense that you'd think of that if something happened and then the next game it got nerfed. But truthfully, all these changes, I usually talk about them in the dev channel beforehand.
Okay.
And others can vouch for that as well. So,
Okay.
like the Ice Cure, for example, that was talked about quite a bit, in the past few days before the nerf. What tends to happen then is I forget about it because I get
Yes.
distracted easily. And then when it happens,
Okay.
I'm then reminded, oh, yeah, I did need to change it. So when someone uses something on me, it's usually then a reminder of a previous discussion, and then I go ahead and do it. So,
Yeah, kind of like
Yeah.
the nunchucks.
Yeah. That
yeah,
happens
the
I
to me
know.
a
nunchucks,
lot.
all the devs agreed on the nunchucks that it was broken, but
Okay.
it took until it happened on me, and then okay, and yeah, we do need to do something about this. I remember now.
It because
Yeah.
other things like such as Wicked Boomstick, where I know it's meant to
Good
be a
question.
reminder, but Wicked Boomstick or say Lockpick, because Lockpick was a very its combat stack buff was very condition based and only used for like
Sneesh.
when free to roam achievement was really an issue. And say Lockpick got like completely like its combat stack could go completely like Thanos snapped, even though it's only used for this one very niche
we're
thing that only
kinda-
2 players ever did.
While this conversation is interesting, I think this is multiple questions.
Yeah, I know, but
Yeah,
this
we
is
let
just
you
this
have
is
two
just mainly
questions.
evidence
This is the
based.
third
Sorry,
one.
sorry. This is just
All right, so
mainly just
your question is about the vision and what it's used for.
yeah,
and
and
then-
why are
okay,
things getting
well,
nerfed? Then I'm just
it's a
giving
meme.
stuff like
It's
that.
a complete meme.
It's
Yeah.
a meme. I
That's
mean,
all it
everybody
is. It's a meme.
everybody does
The
have
only
their
vision,
ideas
Because
on
the
what it
vision
should
is
be, but
discussion amongst us. Sometimes there are times when I guess devs do whatever the fuck they want, and
Okay,
that's
because
more of a
sometimes
discussion for us to deal with.
okay,
And
because
then
I wasn't 100% sure. Sometimes I'm just feeling relatively
it's a
unsure
meme.
when I came to
no,
this question.
Pooflet
Right?
does not have full reign to edit the game mode as he wants, and he's not driving the game mode in some arbitrary direction that none of us understand.
He's not making it
Okay.
Mr. Green.
It's a
so
joke. It's a
fine.
meme.
Yeah, but
The worst
it's
part
just
is when the devs themselves believe the meme.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
To a certain extent, by the way.
Oh,
Also,
shit's
I'm
fair.
sorry for my.
Oh, it's
absence.
Frey.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Division
for
is real.
absence.
Listen to them. Division's real.
I had an emergency, so I was.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, that's fine. Did someone else talk about my points instead of me?
What, the banished? Yeah, I believe Gorma brought everything up.
Yeah, no, it was also Magic Swap too, and we kind of
Yeah,
came
we
on a
talked about
consensus.
the vanish, and that we're probably
Yeah,
gonna
I
make
had
the
no
control
idea.
point, and you unlock it. You unlock it
Alright.
for everybody later.
Yeah,
In
I
the shop.
wanted to ensure that part clearly, and I wanted to ensure the exotic part very clearly. I hope you guys explained that.
Yeah, the only thing we were iffy on were like the bounty weapons. That was the only thing that was.
I'm not sure exactly about that since that's kind of disabled right now. So since like we kind of do not know what to do with them since
I just want to re-enable them.
well, I mean,
We're probably just gonna add them back.
we recently just like disabled them, so
Yeah, we're gonna add them
see.
back to where they were.
Yeah, it's gonna be hell on earth balancing them, but
It's worth it.
Should we take up another question?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the next person is Ellipsis.
Oh.
Oh boy.
Hey, enough with the negative
Yeah,
reactions.
don't do the negative reactions.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, I want to talk to him.
No, it's fine.
doing?
I just know this person. I'm not going oh as in like.
Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello, human.
Hello.
So, the question I have is concerning the scouting gear
Oh, good.
and many other shields affected by Bucket's changes. I think I found a little bit of a funny method. You see, I've taken a lot of blood armor skills, and I've also taken blood ward, and Bucket made it so that these shields can deal bonus damage on bash when you take lots of blood armor with the blood ward. Because the blood ward says if you have a lot of stability from blood armor, you can turn that stability to bonus bash damage. So I'm dealing an egregious amount of damage bashing with scouting gear. And also I'm running a lot of speed. And you can see where I'm getting at with this.
Oh, so
I'm running a full speed build with blood armor, scouting gear, and a lot of bash damage. It's very strong. I think it's a little bit too strong.
So what's your
And
question?
I'm thinking we should change the scouting gear and all of the other shields to reflect these changes.
This is a suggestion.
This is a
This is more of a suggestion. Is that a question? Like, do you want us
Can you
to
please
do that?
phrase this as a question?
Okay, I'll rephrase it as a question. Will we be looking at player gameplay and response to future changes
We always
in
do.
terms of balance?
I think specifically he wants us to talk about if we're going to change scouting gear.
I can answer that. No, I mean, you just asked a different question.
Oh.
We do try to communicate changes, but I mean, there's sometimes that there are certain devs who do whatever they want, and there are times like they just do whatever, and that can cause a problem. But I would hope that most developers have the community's best interest in mind when they're doing stuff and not just acting on their own and being like, oh, I just felt like doing this morning, like a random change. There are certain people who are, I'm not name dropping anybody. There are certain devs who do that. So yeah, we do consider the
I
community.
can answer Ellipsis's question, sorry.
Okay.
So
Yes,
the real
Dr.
answer
Wang.
is those changes are made by Bucket, and he's been monitoring these. So if a nerf on lower tier bashing scaling needs to happen, he'll do it. That's all. It's
Very
that simple.
cool.
Thank you.
Okay,
Well,
is
thank
that
you
it?
for your question. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good question. Next person is Wikimedia.
Okay.
Welcome.
I'm having two questions, but I'm still trying to debate as to which one I was going to talk about. So I'm gonna pick on Dreadhammer, because like I like the idea of Dreadhammer, but it is currently gatekept by a boss loot. Yeah, and it's like, man, I think it would work better if it was like put into the banish instead of being a seasonal boss loot.
Yeah,
I mean, you
like
do have a
why is it
point.
like
You do have
even still a boss
We
loot
could
anyways?
we could put it in the rare the place that we put all other rare seasonal weapons, or not all other, but some.
No, don't put it in
You want
contraband.
Wait, no. I thought we spoke about this in dev one other time where we thought we should have a rare chance of seasonal weathers, which unlock that season's weapons.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, do you not remember this?
Talked about that.
I remember.
Yeah, we did.
That's not his question. And regarding the Dreadhammer, it was initially only dropped by Dread Knight as a cute weapon, sort of like when Butcher used to drop his knife. But since it's now tied to awards, it does kind of suck, because what if the player doesn't pick a Dread Reaper or a Dread Knight? He can't do the achievement. I think
Yeah.
it would be okay to also put it in the banished, sigil. I think that would be okay to guarantee you a way to do that award. So I'll make a note of that to bring Dreadhammer into the banished.
Yeah, because there's like a lot of seasonal weapons that aren't really gatekept into being a boss loot. No, I know
Yeah.
the guitar was one, but it also became just an all-around thing instead of a seasonal weapon too.
Yeah, we
so-
had the lollipop and everything
Yeah.
that are like seasonal.
Yeah, that's fine. I can go ahead and move it over to the banished. So
Yeah.
thank you for bringing that
Cool.
up.
As
guys
a
are
side
gonna-
note, I remember us talking in Dev where we thought there should be a rare chance at seasonal like weather events happening outside of the season that would
I mean,
unlock.
they kind of
Oh,
do.
yeah.
I know, but I'm saying
I
you
did not
tie.
remember this
And do what?
conversation.
They unlock those seasonal weapons. Like for example, if dread weather happens in a map, it unlocks the Halloween items in banished, so people have a way to get those seasonal items always. And if something happens, if like the criteria meets it as like
that
a
would require quite a bit of work because we
I'm
don't
gonna
just
search Dev channel
automatically.
for seasonal weapon and see if
Yeah.
We
in a
don't.
moment.
We don't dynamically add content into the shops like that. That would require quite a bit of a rework, I think.
Yeah.
I think it would be a cool idea, but maybe not.
I don't know. I prefer seasonal content staying seasonal if we can.
I kind
I
of
do
understand
too.
what Pufla is trying to say because like it kind of like removes the uniqueness of those
Yeah.
weapons.
That is true.
Oh, it
should
wasn't
be
supposed to be.
seasonal.
It's not supposed to be every time, guys. It's a
Yeah,
a
but
rare
it loses
it's a
its
rarity
charm.
thing.
Gorma, you don't understand is that it loses its charm, even
Yeah.
if it's
Yeah,
random or rare.
it kind of
Bull's an exception.
Also, I'm sorry for asking this, but like Scott, was it mentioned that the bounty weapons, if they're getting added back, like there's a possibility that they might be banished?
No,
Yeah,
they're
we
not
talked
going to be
about that.
banished. We talked about it. They'll
They're
just
not going to
be
be
back
banished.
where they were.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
but we're going to
That's fair.
rebalance them to consider all the new
Yeah,
ways to
that's
get
fair.
bounties.
Yeah,
The
not to
only
say that we won't move some, but maybe we will. Maybe
yeah,
we
the
won't.
only
Weapon
reason
by weapon.
I'm mentioning this it's because we have the trinkets that help you with farming in general. So I kind of wanted like a better alternative to being banished and like let's say the worst one to be in Arsenal. But like if we want both of them in Arsenal, it's still fine. It's not a problem.
I think we'll have to do a big update for that one again. I think because it'll require a lot of shifting in the banished.
It definitely does.
So I guess that'll come sooner rather than later because it's just number value changing. And then making the control point for banished and making it unlocked as long as you're near a sigil, I guess.
Wait. What exactly was discussed? Like,
You can just rewatch it. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. I can't discuss
Yeah,
it
we
now.
gotta
I
get
wanna
to
take people's
questions.
questions.
This is a Q&A.
First
Thank
question,
you.
please.
Thank you for the good question, Whip Media.
Yes,
Next
thank you.
person is
Hi.
Dragon Rage.
Hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. I have a quick bug report sort of thing and a fishing question. So
Ooh, I'm glad to answer.
so the bug report thing was about like artifact chests. I don't know if it was similar to like the bounty reward thing, but there were multiple instances where I got the same artifact chest like items when I re-rolled. So
I think.
I
That
would
is a bug that some
recommend for the
players did
bug
talk about.
report
I'm like-
if you just post it in the bug reporting channel
Yeah.
and then we
Yeah.
can look into it further. Because right now, trying to investigate is not going to happen.
Okay.
So my advice you just put it in the bug report and you can just ask your fishing question.
Yes, ask the fishing question, please.
Yeah.
All right. So for fishing, is there like a what is it called? Like, is there like a sheet where you can sort of post of like all the types of things that you can get from the different sort of fishing things, like from water, from zombies, and from
I mean, I kind of rather would not do that, just because like you should be fishing to get fish, and then all the other stuff is kind of there.
I mean,
I like the mystery. I like the mystery behind it. I like how I can just kind of like add things, and then you might just cast your hook in there, and you might get something really weird, and like that's kind of strange. I feel like having because like it's not really like a super big balance thing. Like you fish and you get a support grenade. You don't go like, oh, well, there was a 5% chance of that happening, so I'm doing like. I'm not really too keen on adding stuff like that.
Fish
Okay,
up
it's-
ZE.
Don't even suggest that.
I mean, if anything, can we just get a list of what you can fish?
Well, that's easier said than done. There's a lot of things you can fish. Quite a few.
Maybe we should add like a fisher's handbook.
There are all the fish are listed in the food option or database, so you can look there.
Okay.
But most of the stuff you'll just learn by experience and enjoy the wackier things that you can get from fishing and the unexpected things that you can get from things like fishing the banished. Yeah.
As for like,
because like
fishing,
also
as for showing what you can fish, we can make it. We can maybe make it so you can highlight entities that are fishable when your crosshair goes over it with a fishing rod.
that would be cool, but there's not too much you can fish right now, so I got to build out that system a little more before, we really go crazy on it. But a fishing update is in the works. I just got a little burnt out on it when I was working on it, and turned my attention elsewhere, for now. But when I get enough inspiration, I will return to working on it.
Sure thing. Thanks.
Thank you for the question.
Good question. All right, so the next person we have next is Tectonic.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello. All right, so I'm gonna bring up something I've been bringing up for a while, just not with Pooflet is here, is the med stuff. Pooflet, when you did your giant, whatever it's called, the Scorched Earth for medic, like what did you envision? Like, what did you want from medic? Because at the moment, medic main is boring. It's stagnant. The tier 1 starting tools like the safer med gun, the med kit, no one ever goes that. And it's starting to affect gameplay in a sense that we lose a lot of games during high pop because people are getting picked off slowly and slowly because there's no one's healing. Everyone's just, eating food because it's more AoE healing overall. And it's really, really boring. It's not like how it was like maybe 2 years ago, and I'll give an example. Let's say the tier 2 med rifle. Back in the day, it was overpowered. I remember this because I one time outscored dude with it, and he made a fuss, and it got nerfed to the ground. But it was fun back then because it was fast firing, it was very snappy, and you felt like an actual medic chasing a melee main who's being chased by the boss, and you're trying to keep him alive at a distance, and you're just going at it. You don't have that kind of flair nowadays, especially when like the pure med tools heal less and earn less points than the hybrid mid tools. And it's just very boring right now, and there's not as much medics as it was before.
So sorry, what's your question?
So my question is, what was your intention with the med change? And would it be possible for you to, let's say, affect the med tools in a way where maybe you don't get as much points, it's not as effective, but it's more snappy, it's more fun. Gameplay overall is like, it needs to be more fun because the tier 2 med rifle is boring to use. It feels very awkward. Same with the rejuve.
Okay, so the question is, what was the reasoning behind the Scorched Earth medic update that made everything hybrid? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so this was something I talked with Frey as well, where we kind of wanted to make medics more active, and we looked at like how Killing Floor did it, where a lot of the weapons allow you to shoot and harm zombies, but also heal at the same time, which we did. The problem then is we got backlash from the pure medics who felt like they were now forced to shoot zombies instead of having a more passive playstyle that they preferred.
Yes.
So we brought the medkits back, and recently as well, I did buff healing on some of the tools and weapons. And I think right now we're in a much better position overall with the medics. I'm not sure if you agree on that as well.
I would like to speak about that as well because recently I've been playing a lot of Medic and I kind of have my own thoughts on it. And I think Medic is in a much more solid state than was before. The build up help that you get from healing definitely is like a major help. Like I can definitely feel the buff. And I think it's like in a solid state. I did not have any issues with healing at all, and it felt fun. So I think this is kind of subjective, in my opinion.
I mean,
Yeah.
It is.
I'll say I don't really feel like I like using the tier 1 med tools at all. Really,
The tier 1 medkits, maybe they definitely need something. Like the
no,
prelate
they're
is
good. No, I think the med kit's good.
no. Wait,
Well, yeah, it's
I'm
just a
not
tier
saying
1 weapon. It doesn't need to be
no, I'm not
unusually
saying
Yeah, it
it
doesn't need to be
needs a
crazy.
buff. No. I'm not saying it needs a buff, but like I think he's trying to say that it needs something more interesting, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it feels kind of pointless a lot of
Yeah,
the time. And that's why you
because
said like the
so
AOE healing, because like there's a lot of people that are really hurt, and like because
Yeah,
like
that
with chef, like you get a food item, and that's really impactful, and like
Yeah,
I get
yeah.
that because like it's really good for wave 1 too, because the zombies have taperless claws on wave 1 because they come out of spawn gas. So it's like that's just more effective than sitting there with the savior and mashing M1. Then you reload, and then you mash M1 again. Then you reload. Like that's what it is. And then maybe you pull out the med kit, and you dump the med kit on them for 3 times, and then you just go back to shooting them. Like I get how that can be kind of boring and sterile, and
Yeah,
maybe there is a way to make those weapons a little more engaging. Maybe like have an AOE heal on
Well,
like the savior or something. I don't know.
it's not really the tier 1 I'm really focused about. It's like the tier 2
Like in
rifle
general?
and the rejuve in general. Yeah, the purest metal, which is as I recall, the rejuve and the tier 2 med rifle,
Yeah, the
right?
rejuve is kind of boring.
You
I never
are
buy
The
that.
rejuve
basically
is very. It just feels very awkward to use. Like it's not. It's slow build up. It like you can see healing, but it's very awkward feeling.
It's like 1 HP. The healing is really bad on it.
It's really bad. The tier 2 med rifle, okay, back before it was nerfed, it was very snappy. It was fast firing, and I understand how that can be OP, but in my head, it's like just lower the healing it does, but keep the same gameplay because that felt
you
good.
really
Snapping from
you
like
really you really like that
Unfortunately, we
word.
can't do much about,
Like
feels or how it feels to be snappy or whatever. What I would
yeah.
recommend is if you think a weapon is underperforming or something needs a buff, that you just make a suggestion or a proposal on it. Because recently, Sumir did propose a list of medic changes that me and Frey read through, and I did add them all. And I think that's
Yeah.
had a
I
positive
was
impact on
gonna
all the
do them
medics.
myself.
So
Prefer do.
yeah, anything if you have to describe better what you want for certain weapons as a suggestion, but we can't really go off of this doesn't feel right. That's not helpful to us.
That's
So I
pretty
hope
much
that answers your
subjective,
question.
yeah.
All right.
Like if you have an idea for rejuve and
Yeah,
you think
absolutely. We
go
always
ahead
do
and
read through suggestions.
like saying, "Oh, if this is not snappy, this is snap." Like I'm getting absolutely nothing out of that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And I will say one thing, comparing medic equipment to like 1 or 2 years ago, the heals per minute was much higher back then. And during the Scorched Earth update, I intentionally lowered it, but at the same time, I made everything more efficient. So you don't use as much med ammo because I wanted to lower how much healing a medic could output. And because of this now, chefs are really good because they haven't been touched. So that's sort of why. But
How about reducing the cost of med ammo to compensate?
Oh,
That's kind of
I don't know
scary.
if that needs to happen because, like I
I
said,
don't think it's
That's
necessary.
crazy.
Yeah,
everything's
no.
He
really
made it more
efficient now.
efficient.
You
Yeah.
shouldn't lose out on points using any medic tool now. I'm pretty
Actually, you
sure.
do with Savior.
You absolutely.
But
you
the
The
T1
savior
med
is
gun.
supposed to be fast, and that's why it is not
Yeah,
efficient.
I thought
It's not
Savior
Use the
was
fast.
med gun.
inherently
Yeah,
inefficient
I
on
agree.
purpose.
Yeah, it's
I
supposed
agree.
to be because you get constant like
Yeah,
you keep
it
shooting
is
it.
fast.
Wait,
Yeah,
Yeah,
and it
you
gives you a
get
speed buff and stuff.
you
You
get
save
I'm
speed gains with
I'm
it.
still trying to understand. You're saying that like none of the med tools except for the savior should make you lose profit, or what are you trying to say?
I'm
What-
saying that the reason why the med tool for the savior isn't efficient is because it gives you.
I'm not
speed
talking
on
about the
top-
savior. I was asking what he said earlier because I
Oh.
couldn't catch on.
Well, who said?
What you said, Pooflet, where you said like the med tools should profit now, or they shouldn't profit.
They should,
Okay, because
No, they
I
should.
kind of had
excluding the
to.
Savior specifically.
I kind of had to buff the med rifle a little in terms of its profit because it was a guaranteed loss of profit and it was
That's fine.
frustrating to use.
Yeah, the thing
that's
is
fine.
you have to be careful with specific items because like if you're making it too easy to sustain, then you make buffing even stronger. So you have to
I guess
I was trying to be really careful, and I was taking feedback from other people because it was like I didn't really want to like have it too powerful, but like I didn't want it like where I buffed it, but it's still shit. Like it was kind of like I did a couple of changes afterwards, depending on the feedback of the people. I made it a tier 4, but then I switched it back to tier 2 because people weren't happy about it, and then
Oh yeah, dude, removing the T2 med gun.
I didn't know that it would be really that impactful for people
It's
because
just medics kind of needed a T2 tool, you know. Like if you replace that niche,
I mean,
maybe it
I
would be
didn't
good.
really consider the T2 because of the fact there was other tier 2s like the I forgot what the other
The
med tool
Purger?
was. I forgot what it was, but yeah, but then I did change it back to tier 2, and then nerf the healing a bit more afterwards. But yeah,
Should we
because
move on to the next question?
Yeah, next.
Please?
Thank
Thank you for bringing the medic stuff to our attention.
Can I just interject? I forgot I had something to say during this segment.
Go on.
How do we feel about early projectile weapons from like tier 1 and 3 and how they don't necessarily like I feel like they're not competitive anymore with hit scan weapons at
I mean,
all.
that's just something that needs. It's like a balance concern. Yeah, it's not rewarding to hit them. I would buy the stubber over the slinger every day right now, especially with the buff. But
and like the
I mean, we can talk
Inquisitor
about
and
that. We got to
everything.
answer questions. You know.
Yeah.
This is Gorma's question.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Gorma's question. Okay.
Yeah. That's why I was waiting.
You can't
As
have
the
a question.
stinger, as the designated slinger enjoyer, I definitely do think it needs some help. I really like the hurler. I think the hurler's in a great place. It's a really weird weapon. It's hard to use, but man, that damage output is just so good if you can really nail it.
Yeah, and it's weird because it feels like the hit reg for projectiles got
It's good. No, it's good. In my opinion,
weirder.
it's great.
It got more weird though.
There's
like I
aim
don't know. It
assist
sounds
now.
like veers off course.
What? No, I don't get that. No,
I think that's like where it sort of like hones in on enemies,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Oh,
what
that's the
projectiles
auto aim
do.
thing. You gotta.
Yeah.
I disabled
Yeah,
that.
is it the auto aim
completely.
that's fucking it up? Because I
Yeah,
swear
no, I just turned
sometimes
that
you
off.
pre-fire them and they.
I just yeah, I don't use that at all. I just shoot the slinger like
can turn that
I always
off?
used to.
Is that an
Yeah,
option?
you can turn that off. It's an option.
Oh. I didn't
Yeah,
know.
I thought it was.
Because there are people. I know
Maybe?
dude's saying in chat right now
Wait.
that it feels off to him, and
Yeah,
I-
it feels really off.
Disable
Oh wait,
projectile
no.
aim assist.
No, with it
you
off.
hit the bounding box. You hit the bounding box absolutely. Like no, I'm very 100% familiar with that. I mean, the fishing rod, you hit the bounding boxes. You can even see it stick on the on the bounding box. Like it's definitely bounding boxes.
You have two auto aim. What? Do we have a style of auto aim like that? Is that
We do. Yeah, that was added. So like if your crosshair's on a target, it'll aim so that it hits the target. Because like it's like the soldier in Team Fortress 2.
Doesn't that fuck up predictions then if it's gravitating too
No.
hard towards the
No, it doesn't
zombie?
gravitate. It's not like it hones in on them. It just changes your point of aim. It zeroes it essentially.
Okay, well maybe we'll just have to look at the earlier projectiles.
All right. Let's bring the next person, please.
So the next person is Triv. Come on, Triv.
Hi.
Hello.
Okay, my question is on the state of early game inevitable losses. So, how do we tackle the frustration of a game that has clearly lost wave 1 or 2? It has been happening this month. Basically,
yeah.
it's basically like this hopeless
I
situation.
can answer that, but yeah, keep going.
Okay, it's this hopeless situation where wave 1 or 2, there's like 40 zombies, and there wasn't even a Z team. There's tons of screenshots of like a Flesh Sentinel that got 20 kills, and there's not even a single person on human team that had the point potential to buy a T6, and the ratio is already like 1 to 1.5 humans to zombies. Now we have things like sigil protection, which are supposed to buy time for things, but like how do we remedy that level of frustration of like a chess game or a card game that you lost 10 turns ago?
Okay, so that's an individual concern. That's like a broad question that you asked, but like that's indicative of a balance problem with the system. And I think Professor Drew said he was looking into the Wave 1 Great Evils and the metagame and stuff. Sigil protection was put there to prevent like early losses, but not like completely stop them, but to like discourage it. If the people are mad enough, they're gonna suicide and end the game as fast as they want. you know, it's inevitable that that's going to happen. But it is going to always be a part of ZS where there is just going to be a round where people, you know, don't want to try, and we'll have a ton of zombies and it'll be hopeless.
Would there be the potential for like, I guess, metagame comeback mechanics that would?
Well, I would
prevent-
I would like to add a little something maybe. So like if a mass amount of players kill themselves, it's like you're just waiting for wave 3 because sigil
Yeah,
detection, you know, it
exactly.
wears off and then it's over and then like you're just trying to make it to replay. I kind of do wish there was like if infliction passes a certain point on like wave 1 or 2, you just get airdropped a bunch of tools that'll help you make it past
That would be
replay
rad.
or punish the players because like I don't think it's fun when everybody goes zombie. I'm gonna be honest. Everybody seeing people kill themselves on wave 1, it's just kind of like, well, this whole round's forfeit. Whatever. I don't know what to do. Just wait. Just wait for the game. I hate that. I agree with you with the frustration on that.
I understand that it's kind of concerning that everyone just goes Z-man and like the round is just like over. But like I don't think there is a proper way to discourage it. You're always
Oh
gonna
yeah,
have
you can.
There
Give
is.
humans a
We'll just have
bonus.
to discuss it more
Maybe we
Yeah.
between
shouldn't
ourselves
promote
and the community.
I mean, there's a certain mentality going into it where, like, you know, should we address like the ZE stuff?
Oh my.
No, no,
That's
no.
another-
Well,
Okay.
I should
Another
remedy.
topic.
I should
Another
remedy my.
topic. Okay.
We'll keep it
The-
on topic.
Yeah, another topic.
Yeah,
Another
I
topic.
I want to remedy my question by not saying like I'm not asking for you guys to discourage Z-mating. Like fuck Rust and Dust. Like fuck you know, Concrete Bunker. I think people should skip those maps. But it's the systems in place where it just feels like, well, we lost the game wave 1. Time to wait till wave 3 to actually move
Mhm.
on.
We do have a little system in place left over from Z Director where the more humans die and the more sigils that get corrupted, more supply drops will spawn.
Huh, I didn't know
That's
that.
the only thing we have that I can
Oh
think
yeah, I
of. That's like
forgot
a
about
comeback
that.
mechanic. It doesn't
mean,
do
Yeah.
much.
We'll have to
Yeah, because
consider
it's
more
harder to get
comeback
supply drops.
mechanics.
So
That's the
we
short
could
answer.
give more supply drops. I think that'd be fine.
Boosted
Just-
contraband drops.
Yeah, just start dropping more.
It'll probably be
stuff.
more stuff.
I
that we
think-
can consider, but that's an immediate thing.
I think
I
if
mean,
the
maybe make
reach-
them drop during the wave. I don't know.
They do.
I think
They-
the supply
I've never
drops
seen that.
will
During wave.
benefit more of the roamers and like
Yeah.
maybe something that would help like also boost the caters and also like the medics as well, other than supply drops.
I think we should just discuss it amongst ourselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will.
Mhm.
We
I
will
made a
consider
note.
more comeback mechanics
Yeah,
for
comeback
Awesome.
mass dying.
You're the coolest. I think if the ratio is 1-to-1, Blood Garnet should lose its cooldown.
What? That's a different question.
Oh, and
It's-
people are.
it's
I'm gonna say this
there
now.
for
People are mass killing themselves for Z. That's just like no Z allowed for a whole week after that.
Yeah. That's partly
for
why I
every
was saying
round is
that.
another week of no Z if you do that.
That's why I was asking. I wasn't necessarily like the topic of Z. I was wondering like what you do when everyone's killing
I
themselves.
don't
for
know.
Z.
There's some people who cave in. There's some people who don't. I mean,
We should reward
I
for good
did.
behavior.
I did. Well, off topic, but I did. I did ask HST to make the Z server an actual Z server again. I know that CS2 Z is not like CS:GO Z, and I think a lot of people don't like the changes they did to CS2.
Yeah, a
Kinda
lot
ruined
has
it.
been ruined pretty much. I hear
Yeah,
that.
no, they ruined CS:GO Z
That's
for with CS2.
Okay, thank you for the question, Trev.
Good
Yes,
question.
we will add more comeback mechanics.
Why is Tectonic still here?
All right, so the
Why is
next,
Tectonic still here?
so
Oh.
the next person we're gonna have speaking is Kate Sid.
Oh no.
Oh shit! Yeah.
None of this
Guys,
Yeah,
stop,
guys,
please.
come on, be
All of
neutral,
you,
be
no,
neutral.
no, hold on.
What?
Before you ask your
No.
question, all of you don't do that anymore. Seriously, nobody do it. Or
Welcome.
you're not coming back on stage. Yes.
Right,
go
so I
ahead.
was gonna ask about G's. So
Oh,
with metagame, Drew, you fixed metagame, which is very cool. We
Oh.
see G's spawning a lot more often. The buffs and stuff, you know, it kills people very much, very effective, but it works at least. But my question is, when are we gonna start thinking about making G's not, you know, one-shot tanks, wall of flesh with like 100k HP? because
And
it's not
255 move
exactly.
speed.
Yeah, the hairy sack, bro. It
But the
was
thing
actually
is,
faster. It was faster than me with a knife. I don't
Yeah, no, it
understand
outran
that.
me too. Like that one game, that was
well, the
That was
thing
from the
is,
recent buff because it was too easy to kite.
Gray evils kind of exist to sort of discourage you from spawn camping. That was like sort of
Well, I
the
mean,
initial.
I don't see it as that. The way that I see the metagame system is it's a way to add a little spice to things. Like because nobody likes just sitting there and watching the zombies die. You know, you get a cool
Yeah.
boss, you get a cool thing that
No one
comes out, and you
likes
gotta
to-
fight that. That makes it
Like a
interesting
raid
and
boss.
scary.
Like
Yeah, exactly. Like it sees that you're at that level, and it's like, okay, here's a challenge to meet you at that level.
And
I get what
to
you mean.
be quite honest, Heresy Arc was one of those ones where like you were able to kite it, and it was probably one of the worst GEs until
okay,
it got
yeah,
buffed.
yeah.
Yeah,
Harry
but we're getting
was
we're getting in
actually
the
a
weeds
joke.
though. I agree with
He
so
was.
like continue the
He
question.
was.
I'm sorry.
No, that's pretty much it. Like, when are we gonna start thinking about reworking Gs to make them like more fun, engaging? Because right now it's just if you try to approach it, you die instantly. The
Yeah,
only
it's hard
option
to
is
predict
running
where they're
back to
aiming.
the cade and shooting
I'm
at
not
it
sure
for
if they
like
should
30
even
seconds.
say this, but like, I feel like it's kind of the whole point. You should not approach.
Yeah,
Well, no, I think you. No, I want people to fight GEs. I want
Yeah,
people to
but
fight GEs outside, not just like suddenly die to something that they couldn't have predicted. I think that that's a really valid thing, especially with like the sigil dog and some of the GEs that just sprint at you at faster than your move speed. It's like, oh wow.
Drew, the only boss that technically one shots you is only the sigil tyrant. There is no other.
I have a clip. I don't know if Darker actually fixed it, but I have a clip this morning. I got like ran over by a sentinel, full health, full BA. I got one shotted. I don't know what happened.
I mean, I've seen that happen too. I've not tried to reproduce it. I definitely have to, because it's something I do want to look into. I want to look into GE attacks too in general, and also like GEs, like they're not. I understand, like I really like them being bots. Don't get me wrong. I think having them be bots in like a force of nature is cool, but I also want them to like lift up Z Team, not in a way that's like a constant buff, but maybe just like it doesn't attack when it's too far away, and then that attack it'll like buff all the zombies around it with rally or something. So like even though the GE itself is like this big wall of meat, a lot of the emphasis is also placed on what it does to zombie team. And like I think that would be cool. Maybe give one of them I don't know. Maybe give one of them the ability to launch zombies at people. There's a lot of cool things that you can do like around the idea of them being a raid boss rather than just see this thing, run from it, or die immediately. And I do want to kind of avoid that.
More telegraphed attack patterns already would fix like people dying instantly. It's not
Well, that was the
fun.
message removal thing. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe
it's
you
fair.
Even if
come
it's
back.
not
fair.
removed though, when they spawn in, they just kind of like attack out of gas, and it's like
I know,
just
but
remove
before
Z-gas
you
protection.
had warning for that.
I mean,
But
there
the
is
warning.
still a warning. There is still a
Yeah,
warning.
The warning, I can't tell the
more-
warning half
more
the time
warning.
though.
Yeah, no.
It-
Again, I'm gonna make all that consistent, and we're gonna see. I really do
Yeah.
like the idea of them just coming out of the gas and you being like, "Oh my god!" But again, it's just not fair right now. I totally get that. Like,
Catching people off guard, I think, has proven to be a little more frustrating than I think.
it's super frustrating. I mean, it
surprising.
happens to me. So like again, no Z gas
it's not
protection. Extend the
consistent-
period of time where they can't attack.
Yeah,
if it's
no
not
Z-gas protection
consistent,
would
it
fix
can
it.
be frustrating. I agree with that. It has to be consistent to a certain degree. Otherwise,
Mm-hmm.
it's just not fun to deal with.
But
So
I
I
mean,
guess
you
the
do have a
speaking
warning.
Yeah,
I know, yeah,
it's not. No, but the warning isn't consistent. That's what I'm saying. Everybody's had cases where.
No,
well,
it's not.
everybody's had
The
cases
issue
where
is
the
it's
GE
not loud.
spawns and they can't tell.
Oh,
Like,
but
they just can't tell like the GE's there. I have to call it out usually.
But there's like a
What
how.
about people
There's
who
the
are
metagame
deaf?
how.
Yeah, what about people who are
There's
deaf?
that too. I know. So like I said, I have plans for it. I'm thinking about maybe putting back the old chat messages that say like you feel a chill down your.
Yeah,
stuff
yeah.
stuff
Yeah,
like
those are
that.
good.
Yeah, it would be more ominous. That would be actually kind of
Yeah.
cool.
You know, maybe we
You
can make
don't
like
know
the
what it
sigils
is.
have like a custom color when they're about to proc or something, or like give like a.
Yeah, I mean,
we could
yeah,
do world
that's
something.
actually
Global
cool.
insanity effects.
I don't want to do a sanity effects on that. That would be crazy.
No,
but
no,
yeah,
no,
so
don't do that.
I agree with all those things, and there's a lot of work to be done. But yes,
Like having environmental changes when a GE spawns, I think that's probably the best thing to do right
That's
now.
just
That'd
a
be
visual
cool.
thing, yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Or
not
like
sure,
your string
but we
gets
should do
darker,
more
or
work
like
for visual stuff. And
Do like
symbols
a cool sigil blast like we have for the sigils when they turn into portals, but do it like a short one and make it like corrupted. I think that would be cool.
you could do a lot of stuff. You could do a bunch of
Yeah.
things to
Okay.
indicate it.
Was that
But
all?
yeah.
We're brainstorming again.
Because
Yeah.
it's getting.
Yeah, that's all.
Okay. Well, thank you
Thank
for the
you,
question.
Khaled.
Good
Thank
question,
you.
problem.
Kate said. All right, the next person we have here is Chroma.
Brisket.
Yeah, let's try and speed up the questions. We're at it for 2
Hello,
hours.
Trauma. What is your question?
Hi, okay, I forgot to unmute myself. Hi, how's my mic, first of all, before I begin?
Good.
It's good.
You sound good.
All right, okay. So as many people know, I like to roam, basically. I feel like lately roaming has become quite a challenge, and not in a good way. With how can I say this? With demi bosses now being more potent, and now just regular zombies actually destroying a single guy without even any effort, particularly. I feel like how should I put this into words? I feel like what it's not fun to fight against zombies that give you 50 wounds, basically. And even with a +3 critical charger with medical tools maxed out, you can't even heal all of it.
Now, something I've been
So,
focusing
this is something I could answer. We already sort of talked about demi bosses, the human time to kill. I think that falls exactly into this. So, like I said previously, I'm going to be reviewing the kill potential of demi bosses and look at some appropriate nerfs. So, I think that should answer your question about the future of the demi bosses and such.
Yeah, but I also meant that in general of that roaming is no longer easy because the zombies themselves have become so strong that you can't even
We already talked
1v1.
about this. We already talked about this, and
Yeah.
yeah, zombie time to kill will be looked at. The health for their damage, we'll probably have
Yes.
to consider it more. We're gonna add more tools for like pushing out, especially during intermission.
I see.
So it shouldn't be as bad in the coming future, but right now there's probably like very egregious stuff that needs to be ironed out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Definitely
definitely.
look at some nerfs. Yes.
Oh, please, please. I just want to push out and not get annihilated by a fucking violator.
Yeah,
The
Violator,
we'll
one
look at
thing.
stuff. Yeah, we're gonna look at that, but
Yeah.
hopefully that answered your question, and thank you.
That was a good question. All
Oh,
right,
we can
next
cut 'em off. I'm sorry,
person
Chroma.
is Sumi.
Yeah, we're gonna cut off the questions at blank slate. So.
Uh-huh. Sumi?
It's an
I think
so
it's
Is this a text
it's
one?
a chat
Yeah, it is here. I could do
Okay.
it.
Where is it?
It's being
Similar to Kite
reposted.
said and Triv's question, but early game GEs have become really impactful, as in overwhelmingly so. I understand that they are meant to be strong, but they kind of overstay their welcome sometimes, staying long in the wave 2. Before this wasn't a problem because all humans did double damage to Great Evils in intermission with Sigil Blessing. However, Sigil Blessing had its bonus damage to all zombies removed. Is there plans to bring this back or just nerf Great Evils in general? I'd like to bring back the damage bonus to them. I really think or maybe just kill them on intermission, honestly.
No,
No, that'd be too.
We talked about that and that was dismissed.
The problem
already
is,
talked
Drew,
about
if you make that too easy, it just becomes free. You have to be careful about that.
But what about Great Evils? Like they are meant to sort of shake up the game, but if they just exist during intermission, that's already a huge task to kill them. Like it's putting an unnecessary burden on the humans, and like you don't want to push out when there's a GE.
I'm going to say something that might upset people, but I feel like if a GE remains alive for that amount of time, that's their own fault.
For 30 seconds, they can spawn within 30 seconds of wave end.
I'm just gonna say this now. G's won't be just annihilated on wave end. That's not what's gonna happen.
I don't
Yeah,
like
well, I'm
that.
not saying
doing
that, but
we're probably
something
not
needs to
gonna have
happen.
the damage increase.
Why don't you just make its health
I
decay?
think there should just be more strides made to make them not spawn towards the wave end.
Yeah.
But that's
I
about
mean,
it.
they already have a 30-second cooldown, or 30 seconds. They can't spawn within 30 seconds of wave end. It's like, well,
It
what
should
if one's
probably
just
be a
wandering
little
around
more.
the
It should
map?
probably be a little longer. Probably
Drew, what if
like
you just
45.
made their health
45
start decaying in wave intermission? Like, just make it after a set amount of time that their HP starts going down
I
after like
mean,
let's
I
say 2 or
guess we
3
could
minutes.
also do that if it's really bad. Yeah.
I mean, Darker just said this pretty like nicely. If Drew adjusts metagame like the spawn rate, all of this is not needed. I think that's
Yeah,
fair.
I think this is all just the G's being a little
Yeah.
strong right now.
It's more of a
It'll
one
be
step at a
changed.
time thing.
It'll be changed, but yeah, hopefully that answers your question.
Okay.
Next.
That's a good
We have
question.
4
Okay.
more.
So the next person is Dexy.
I assume it's still here, by the way.
Yeah.
They have to leave on their own.
Okay,
Oh,
so this is a question for Pooflet mostly because I know you do most of the Sunhud stuff. Is there any plans to add ability build-up numbers to Sunhud as well as make the kill feed a bit more, I guess, responsive?
Can you explain the build-up meter thing? What do you mean by that?
Oh, sorry. Like numerical build-up numbers. Like there's a option that you can turn on for normal HUD that lets you see like numeric build-up numbers, and on SunHUD it doesn't seem to work. There's only a bar.
Okay. For all the Sunhud stuff, I recommend just posting it in the Sunhud channel. It's something that me and Ben often check. But yeah, absolutely. I'm for adding more options.
Okay. Yeah, that's it.
For the kill
thank
feed
you.
as well, it will be really nice to have an option to have the
Switch it.
Yeah, definitely. Because
yeah, I'm okay with
Or
that.
maybe
the new
even
one
move
is
the center
very
messages, like the position of the
no,
center
no.
messages.
The new one is just very choppy. If that makes any sense, it feels very.
Yes, it's still a work in progress, and there will be more options. But any Sunhud related stuff, just post it in there. It's still something I'm actively developing on whenever I don't get distracted by other stuff.
Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay, thank you for the
Dexter.
question.
Good question. All right. So the next person is going to be Wicked.
Hello.
Yo.
Hello.
All right. My question is, will there be any more maturity when it comes to dev responses from the community when something is going wrong?
Yeah.
I already talked
What do you
about
mean by
that. I'll answer
maturity?
this.
This
Yeah,
is
no,
not a
I'll answer this. Yes, I already talked about that, and I'll probably talk more to specifically the dev team later.
All right. I'll hold you to it. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Next person is Aeroshine. I think they're not here.
Rip.
Give
All
him
right.
another 15 seconds or so. You could just invite Blank Slate.
Yeah, we'll wait for him. We'll do Blank State right now.
Hello.
Hello.
My question is actually about Alpha Crab. It on certain maps it just invalidates both anybody going out and actually roamers, all of them.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier, but I
Good
agree.
question.
God damn it, I
It's
got.
just Demi strength. They will be nerfed.
Oh, good. Only other question was actually Fleshbreaker. During
Icebreaker, yeah, sorry, go.
during wave 1, if you charge at somebody just out in the open, they're probably doomed. If you can just knock them down. You get the pool, you get the damage, you get extra hits. Any other zombie just gets more damage. And I love it. I just love it.
Well, I'm sorry to tell you that I did move it to wave 3 only, or past wave 3, so no Fleshbreaker on spawn right now. I'm considering making it like a chance thing, but I hated seeing them every game, and yeah, they did result in a lot of just like, you get charged out of Z-gas and just die, and it's like, that sucks. So
Well, I mean,
I did
if
disable
it's
them on the early waves.
Drew, if it's in a low amount, then I think that's fine.
Well, no, there's just no warning for it. There's no way to tell it's coming. It's just kind of it's out of Z spawns charging already, and like you're just
There
dead.
it is.
Yeah, I think that's a negative thing for the game balance.
What does that give?
Yeah, Fleshbreaker jump scare.
It's like a bullet coming at you to kill you. It's
We
awesome.
need to turn that into a speech bubble right now.
Okay, thank you for the question, though.
All right.
It just falls
Imagine
under more metagame stuff, really.
a UI element that shows like how angry metagame is.
We can't
Just
play.
visual
We already have
storytelling.
stuff
We need
for
more
Well, I
that.
visual
guess
We have
stuff.
stuff for
Arrow
that.
is not here, so I guess what Ice wanted to come up, or I'll bring Ice up.
Should we just
Thank
take
you for the
another
question.
person?
One more.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
it.
Hello, Icy.
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, you're good.
So this is more of like, you know how Cinder Thug was like a roamer killer? So what I
You good?
wanted, can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
What I wanted to ask is like for a replacement for Cinder Thug.
Wasn't Genome made for or Gnome? What? How the
Yeah.
fuck? Genome?
Gnome is one, but it's not on the
Gnome.
tier of a lesser evil. It's not on a tier of a lesser evil like Cinder Thug was.
Cinder Thug was never meant to be anti-roamer, by the way.
Yeah,
It was meant to be a Cage Destroyer.
It was.
He was like
Yes.
he was like
That's what people remember him the most
fun to
fondly as,
fight.
though.
I know,
Yeah.
but that was unintentional.
I just
Maybe
remember
we
him
can add
nuking the
something
whole
to fill
team.
that niche again.
Yeah.
Well, what niche? What? They have a
And-
charger that can jump?
Well, no,
Like
I
a
mean just like something
fighter
to
zombie.
fight. It's like 1v1 really powerful roamers, not like maybe not
You mean
like
a
crowd
gnome?
destruction.
Like-
well,
Gnome's
something on the
not that
lesser evil
powerful.
tier.
What do you mean? They've got Skeleton Captain. They have Executioner.
Yeah, Skeleton Captain's definitely good for that.
Yeah, let's
I think
add lesser
Execution is more of a crowd
evil.
thing.
Let's add lesser evil pursuer.
Oh, that's another
that
thing
stuff.
that I guess is a little after. I guess this question. Did your question get answered, Ice?
Hmm?
Icy, did your question get answered or?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Well, thank you for the question. So what was it? Evolutions. That was one thing I was like talking more about. Is that evolutions kind of like are arbitrary upgrades to certain demis, and I don't really like that. I'm not sure what other people feel about that.
Yeah, I don't like
But
it either.
I
What the
think that
hell?
they should. Well, some demis have evolutions, but not all of them do.
Not anymore.
Not
Yeah.
anymore. Yeah,
Wait,
they
what
were
do you mean
removed.
not anymore? Oh, they were moved. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not
They
bringing
became
that
bodyguards.
back, are we?
They
Shouldn't
became bodyguards, and then I disbanded the bodyguards.
So now they're all demis. Yeah.
No, they are all removed
They're
right
just
now.
they're just
They're
gone.
removed.
Deadeye's there.
Yeah.
And Captain is a
With the
lesser evil now.
exception of the what's it called? The Skeleton Archer got replaced with Deadeye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I kind of wanted those classes to return in a certain way, but like I think it's kind of late right now.
They can return, but they need to
Yeah.
be unique in their own way.
Yeah, they have to be unique,
Yeah.
so no more evolutions,
Yeah.
and they would probably
Oh.
be repurposed into what Ice wanted, I guess.
I'll be kind of honest. I like the idea of Lich being able to access these more powerful zombies. I just don't know how you would be able to balance that, like as a
You
finite
just need
resource.
to make the zombies less powerful. 3 health bars on a normal zombie is pretty yikes.
Yeah, I just I like the idea of Lich having an access though to where he's like pushing the zombies above their evolve stage. Like it's like a.
I feel like they shouldn't
Like
be able to
it
go
does that.
past wave 6 because wave 7 evolutions are just way too strong.
Make Lich be able to spend Dark Essence on it.
The Annihilator,
that'd be
That's
cool.
so weird.
the Annihilator spawns with like 2.5k health and gets shield on hit.
Yeah, make it
What
so
up?
he can evolve demis into bosses. How
And
about
multiple
that?
health bars. Don't forget, he gets his full health bar back when he revives.
What, bro? You can't
You
can't.
didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, no. You do that. You go
Oh my
Howler. It's
God.
crazy. I've been
The
waiting
only
for people
issue
to
with
post more
Lich
clips
is
of it.
that the
It's like
wave 7
5k health.
can't do anything. I feel like Lich is a good class. I feel like it's a well-designed boss. I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's cool.
It's fine.
Peter, do we have any more questions?
No,
No,
we
we stopped.
do lightning questions, but I don't know what people want to do.
Well, we have all the we all have those pre-written questions as well. But I mean, I could briefly go over them. I guess I think we answered a lot of it already.
Uh-huh.
Let's take a look in my pre-discussion. We've answered a lot of the ellipsis stuff already. Can Bruiser skill be buffed? No, I don't think it needs to be honest. Fish combinations from fishing. I guess it's like a cooking,
I
fishing
can answer
thing.
that one really quick. You
Yeah.
should be spending your fish. You shouldn't be like if you stockpile them and then it's like the problem is I have too much fish. I'm not just gonna give you like free burst healing that's more powerful than that. Spend
Make
your
it so I
fish.
can grow
Use
them.
them. Use them throughout the game. I really don't. I don't want to add a combination. I really don't. Like, if you fill up on fish and you're like, oh god, I'm just not getting any points, and it takes me a while to eat them. That's like the balance of it. I really don't want to add. And combo food kind of works inconsistently. It's a system that needs to be looked at again because it's not. I play Healing Chef. I barely think about combo food. It's something that happens every time I try to think I'm gonna predict it or like I'm gonna work with it. It just messes me up.
The
So
curse of a placeholder system that was good enough.
yeah, exactly. That's the problem, and it's like I don't know how to fix it. I haven't looked into it too much, but I really don't want to add on to that system anymore right now.
Okay. This one I can answer. Will getting candies and ways to get them increase? Well, we already have multiple ways of getting candies and seasonal currency, dailies, you know.
I
Sorry?
did. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I just added support for a zombie monster, and I was actually thinking that maybe we should do like double candy during weekends.
Double
For-
candy weekends.
Yeah, for zombie monster.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
actually,
okay
how
with
about
that.
just double candy period on weekends because people can't play during the week necessarily because of life commitments.
Also, if anybody has any Halloween fish SCKs, please send them to me. I'd be happy to.
Why
add
don't you
some
just tell
fish
me to make
rewards.
them? I would fucking
You can
make
make them,
them.
Gorm.
Yeah,
Everybody
I'll
can make
fucking
them.
make them. Fuck fish.
So, yeah, I mean, we do special things like the Zombie Master stuff where we can award extra candy. I know Firestorm's also set up the pumpkin carving contest. So, if you want a nice way of gaining candy, I'd recommend doing that because each participant gets 5,000 straight up. So,
Yeah,
you know,
depending on the effort.
yeah, so throughout October, there will be additional ways of earning candy, but I think right now in Zombie Survival, we have a good amount of ways to earn candy through the seasonal weapons, dailies, just joining the server, and just events in
drops.
general. Yeah, exactly. We don't want to make it, we don't want to inflate the currency too much because we don't want
Yeah.
everyone just to get the cosmetics so easily. Well, the cosmetics are pretty cheap. It's the player models that are priced quite high intentionally because we don't
Some are
want
like
everyone to
70,000, which is insane. Like that's
it's something that me and Scott sort of agreed on over the years with seasonal cosmetics to price them
Well-
like that. They have to be that high.
Well, okay,
Oh.
so originally they were only purchasable with candy, but then just made it Ember too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can save up your candy throughout the year to get it, and then if you didn't get it, you
That's
save
true
it,
too.
cash it. So, like,
Yeah.
the whole thing now is like you can save it from
Yeah.
year to year.
So if you don't have
70
enough candy, you can just spend your ember instead, or you could wait, next year or whatever to try again. Okay. Let's see. There's another one. State of deployables. Thoughts on adding more support trinkets and stuff for deployables like turrets and that. Well, it's always
Like
an
what?
option, I suppose.
Dangerous. That's dangerous.
Well, what would you even upgrade? Like what could even be upgrade? Health,
Fire
That's about
rate.
it. Fire rate? Oh, you mean like
Yeah.
turrets? I mean
Yeah, like turret
Yeah.
fire rates.
Well,
That's
I
scary,
want
dude.
turret.
Like making turrets be able
okay.
to have trinket like round effects, I
Oh,
guess.
that's
They can
that's
fire
well,
through it?
okay, that's like a whole rework discussion, and I think
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
a tricky subject to talk about.
Yeah. Here's another one. Thoughts on the dynamic between force fields and poison? Something that I did
Ooh,
mention
that's a
to
good
Scott
one.
a
Why
while
have
ago as
strong
well.
words for gunk? I feel like a force
It-
field's mandatory for fucking gunk on wave 5 and 6, that's for sure.
I think poison is very polarizing, where some games it feels like it doesn't do anything, and then other games it just ends the rounds. So
It depends
that's
on
a
the
tricky
map.
one.
Yeah.
It does depend on the map.
I feel like
Yeah,
gunk
the
is
map,
kind of like that
spot,
too, though.
everything, and here's what I have to say about poison, and I think we should follow it. It's not a main method of attack, nor is it a main method of killing people. It should always be an annoyance more so.
Yeah.
It should never be the primary way to kill anybody. And that's also kind of
mean-
why, like, I don't really like Puke Puss as a boss itself.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
He's
think
centered
God bless.
around doing that.
if you think about it, Scott, Pupus is the only boss in the game that is kind of bypassing the sigil protection thing, because the projectiles.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't get bypassed, and it should.
No, but he can stay outside the range. I think that's what Frey's saying. And you
Yeah,
can shoot
yeah,
poison
he
bombs.
Yeah, but the
him.
projectiles
But
get-
it still gets destroyed. Yeah, all the
Yeah.
projectiles
Yeah.
get destroyed.
Yes.
Oh yeah, no,
Well,
no, no.
he
You're
can't.
right.
He can't
you're
do
right.
anything.
They do get destroyed. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a bunch of KB questions, but a lot of these have already been answered, I think. I'm just trying
I
to
think
get
a
the
lot of
question.
people are very. I think a lot of people are concerned about dev reception to feedback. So I'm definitely going to talk more about that. I think between the developers, though, for sure.
I think it's fine if they are concerned about that. They have the rights to be feeling that way. If you see devs arguing with each other and reverting each other's stuff, it's kind of
Yeah, that's
fair.
no good, and that's
Yeah.
like, I mean, it's to be expected that not everyone's going to agree on stuff, but I mean, even
But
like
the way,
in the community, yeah, and it's the way you present it and the way you go about it, and then the community sees that, and then I'm sure the community also has their own differing opinions, and I feel like as someone who's developing the game, well, I'm not going to demand anything of anyone, that's for sure, but like, you know, at the very least, like we're doing it with the community, so just be more respectful of the
yeah,
community's
I
opinions,
mean,
even if it's a
communicating your
little hostile.
changes.
Yeah,
Usually
with the community,
communicating
just
your
have it like
changes.
maybe written
Yeah.
down somewhere, like somewhere in the Discord or somewhere maybe like talked about where it's on record, so like it's not blindsided by anybody.
Yeah.
Like we should
Yeah, I
definitely
think
have our
that's
discussions public and private more so. Like if we're discussing
yeah.
something amongst ourselves and people are not aware of that, they'll feel like it came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah,
think there is probably like a lack of transparency right now, which can be fixed by further communication with the community and with each other.
I don't necessarily think it's a
we had this
lack of
issue last
communication.
time.
Wait, no, I feel like we've been communicating way more in this past 2 years.
oh yeah,
than
we
been
have, but there's
trying,
always
but-
room for improvement. It's not perfect.
Yeah, there is room for
Yeah.
improvement. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying I don't want to downplay like how much.
Oh
you know,
no, I wasn't. I do think the communication has gotten better since we started Q&As, even though I'm sure some people don't believe it. But at least with the Q&A, a lot of the community and the developers are like together to discuss stuff. So, I mean, yeah, like we could have like, I feel like we should have our discussions. Like if we're gonna discuss something, it should be more public, or at least hinted at in public. Like if we're gonna bring something up, we can bring it up to us and people so they know. So again, it's just like the concern of stuff coming out of nowhere, like random nerfs happening, is what a lot of
And-
people were bringing up with the Q&A.
And
as
a
well.
part of that, a part of like community feedback is I was going to do a poll sometime after the Q&A asking about what people's current thoughts and directions they want for the bounty system, because I do know that ever since the bounty shop has happened, there's been kind of like a polarizing opinion on the community for what direction they want bounties to go in. So that is something I'm planning on doing probably within like the next day or two, where people can actively poll so we can see like community like opinion on what they want. So
Yeah, we did have the in-game poll thing, but I'm sure that hasn't been changed in a long time, and it's kind of just like a text thing. So
I feel like in a way we need to make it so like people can vote and all that stuff, but the voting has to be what's the word? Has to be hidden,
Like-
so people cannot be affected by others' opinions. If that makes any sense.
I think I can take a look into that.
yeah, we definitely
Because-
want more open communication, not even just
Yeah.
closed. And it is like
Yeah.
it's not really like it's not fair to the community and people who are playing the game to get blindsided by stuff if they feel like they are constantly being blindsided by random balance changes from whoever, not even just one person. Just
I feel like
whoever.
someone shouldn't like go for a week and then come back and the entire game's different and they have no idea why.
That happened to me on vacation.
I was gone
I
for a
mean,
month, came back, and I had to change like everything. It
The
was
rule of
annoying.
thumb though is
okay,
sometimes
that's
people like,
another
"Oh,
thing
yeah,
that it's kind of like I disagree with to a degree. Like I feel like if we should do something, we should feel like we can. not
No, I'm
just.
saying we
Yeah.
should communicate it that things
Well,
are going to
yeah,
change.
we'll
If a
communicate it
weapon,
to
if a
somebody at
weapon
the
is
very least.
overperforming, like if a weapon is overperforming and you have the power to make it like less strong, then no one's like holding your hand is like telling you don't do it. Just go ahead and nerf it.
You know, and I do
We
think
want more public
experimental.
discussions. I think that's the bottom line.
Yeah,
Public
I think we're
discussion.
Yeah,
trading
yeah.
ground here. I think we should start wrapping things up. We're already
Yeah.
almost 30
Well, I
minutes
think
over.
I
didn't
was just
Dark One want to say something after questions, or am I wrong? Did he?
Well,
Or
I'm telling everyone this is the part where I say everyone join cinema so they can get the rewards, because I'm not going to wait 5 minutes after.
wow.
Mm.
just have everyone by 5:30, and that's when we'll end it.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have 5 minutes to get into cinema to get your reward.
Yeah, join the server right now for your awards.
Men.
Yes.
Hello,
Men.
Darker.
Men.
We're on OBJ right now, though. Fuck.
So here's my question.
Fuck OBJ.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you know how the gift, the skill that used to be in the specialist tree, is in the gun tree right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's like one thing that's going to lead into the question. So the first thing is, some people wanted random bounty rewards instead of tokens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's not coming back baseline. However, we can make a skill that makes it so you get a tiny bonus in bounty gain, and the downside would be you get a random bounty reward, like the thing we used to have before the change. So you get to choose between 4 random trinkets instead of a guaranteed token. So that's getting added. That's not the question. The question is, that's sort of like a neutral skill. It doesn't belong in the gun tree. It doesn't belong in the melee tree. It's not a health skill. It's not a barricade skill. It's not a medic skill. So there's no room for it. So the question is, should we bring back the specialist skill tree?
I think the specialist
Oh,
skill
do we
tree
have
has
other
a lot
places
of
for it?
growth.
Like, do we have other skills that go in there?
No, because like the gift isn't a gun tree, but the gift isn't strictly like a gun skill. It's just banished points, and it used to be in the specialist tree because it was made for skills like that, like sort of neutral skills that
Yeah.
don't
What I'm
belong.
saying is, like, if we
Yeah.
add the tree back, do we have like other skills to go in that tree, or is it just going to be
Of
the
course.
gift right now?
Well, it would have to be redone, but the original idea for the specialist tree that I did was it was for statuses. So some status related skills, like the one that converts your enfeeble into wounds, that was going in there. I don't know if that still exists. But now we have the gift and then this idea for the bounty reward change. So those are neutral skills. It could belong there. The whole
Maybe
thing
we can
could
get a
just be
global
remade.
swap speed increase too.
One thing that wouldn't come back in the specialist tree that used to be there though are build up stuff, because I think that was just too strong. There's some
Yeah.
mechanics that don't belong on skills, but they're fine on trinkets. So build up bars and maybe rounds related stuff won't come back, but I could potentially think of more things. But the 2 things that would belong in there obviously would be the gift and the bounty skill that I haven't come up with a name yet. So what are your thoughts on that, bringing back that tree?
I think it'd be good for the game, to be honest, because I have more build enabling perks than most of the other trees.
I wouldn't
The
want to add
thing
it
is-
just for 2 skills, but it kind of needs it. Otherwise, the bounty skill wouldn't have like a proper spot, and then it would be stuck having to come up with a new skill.
I
that
do
replaces
see
it.
what you mean right now, but like, if you want to add more stuff to it, then you will probably have to look at banished and get back whatever it was removed, because most of the stuff you see in banished are.
I know,
stuff that
but
you
the crazy stuff doesn't have to come back. It's just that, you know, the trinkets that change the duration and effectiveness of debuffs on yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are just very bland stats. There's nothing crazy about those. So those used to be the main branching skills that, you know, every tree has. Like the health tree has like little bits of health. The blood armor tree has little bits of leeching. Then the speed tree has speed. So for the specialist tree, it used to be one branch that leads into more effectiveness, less duration, and then the other branch was the opposite. So we can bring that back as a skill. No biggie there, right? But the more crazy stuff like Avatar of Death, which was originally made for the specialist tree, that can stay as a banished trinket. It doesn't have to go back in there.
.2 minutes to get your rewards, by the way.
2 minutes.
2 minutes and we're ending it. Yeah.
I was talking to Drew about a system. I shouldn't even talk about this. It was like a stupid idea. We were just thinking, yeah, never mind.
Okay.
For bounties, it's just something that needs concepting.
I'm disappointed there was no questions on contraband.
It's a cool system. I don't think there's anything that has to be.
I mean,
said
there
on
is nothing bad about contraband, so there
You
is
want the
no
contraband
questions asked.
question?
Yeah, what's the contraband question? Come on.
All right, let me think.
Can we get?
What is the contraband? That's your first
Oh
question.
yeah, are we getting bloodlust and contraband?
Can we get melee
I
emblem?
hope so. I want to do
No,
I want to do
no,
blood. I
we
want
are
to do old
not-
bloodlust and
we are
contraband,
not-
but who
we're not
knows?
ready.
We have
No
melee
melee
emblem?
emblem.
Give us melee
Melee emblem, icy heart banned, and the exotic cookbook. Those are 3 trinkets that will never come back into
What did
contraband.
melee emblem even do? Turn your guns into a melee weapon?
Yes.
It turned your gun into a melee weapon
yeah,
and enabled
made-
really like stupid
the
stuff,
fuck
like
did
really
that?
crazy bullshit.
Ori.
And exotic cookbook turned everything into a culinary weapon, so you would just use like a chainsaw and you'd get 1,000,000 food items for free, and there was no like thought involved. It was just dumb.
Yeah, it's just
No.
very stupid.
Yeah, let's add avarice.
Avarice doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to bring back. It's a contraband you can get at any time in the game, and like if you get it late game, it's just like okay, I get free bounties. But if you get it like after the point, then it's like it's useless. I just would rather not add that. And hollow carving works. I changed the cooldown on it so that it's not something that you can use to solo the entire zombie team. Suffer.
Yeah,
Okay, I might as well say this here. Me and Drew were talking about maybe making something that costs 2 or 3 bounty tokens for a box of random selected trinkets that are build defining. That's what we were considering, but it needs more
I mean,
workshopping.
I don't know. I don't really feel too strongly about that as like a concept. Like, yeah, we talked about it a little bit, but like, I don't know if it's like something that we really want to add to the game. Honestly, like,
I think it's people like interactions. All right, there's a reason why people talk about secondary versus primary effects, and I know people are
Oh
going to
my
disagree
God.
with me here, but I know people like making these interactions. That's all.
please don't make secondary effects primary. Please don't. I like having the server actually run and not crash.
No, I'm not saying to make secondary effects primary. I'm saying build defining trinkets from a source that make it so we can have more unique conversion effects. That's all. That's all I was saying. It's like something that allows people to be able to experiment with.
I want to mention one thing before we close the Q&A. I would like to, after we discuss between the devs and all that stuff to see what exactly was said, I will personally work on the banished rework myself, and I'm looking forward to do that.
I think the idea might have. We were talking about a control point. You might need to be caught up
That's
on
fine.
one.
We can brief it during the dev channel.
I would like to see exactly what was said because I
Yeah,
had
that's fine.
some stuff.
I've made notes that I will share with the community afterwards on all the stuff that we've talked about and what our plans are.
Did everyone get their rewards?
Yep.
2K candy.
Let's
fucking
Okay, well done. Well,
Well,
thank you
then-
everyone
Can
for
somebody
joining
give me the
the
2K
Q&A.
candy?
We appreciate all of your
Yeah, it was fun.
questions.
Yes, thank you. Appreciate all the questions. And
Yeah.
Stay safe.
Thank you guys for
Thank you for coming.
Enjoy the rest of your day, folks.